know what it is. Yo. Yo. You up? Little late today. About to get started. Crown the King 4-5. What up? What's going on? Whew. A little late start today. Had to get right. Sending out to a couple partners. I hope everybody doing good today. The ones that are able to tune in. I don't know what it is. What it is. So, whew. How was life? What up, Wagner, Mr. Kyle? What's happening? We're gonna talk with the Blaze Rock today. Feed the community. What up, man? I know you probably at work and stuff. So I just wanted to, I always like to shoot y'all the message. You know what I'm saying? I know we're in different time zones and everything. So man. I know what's up. I always like to share, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, had to, man. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to catch up with the Blaze Rock, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't got a chance to talk much. What's up, Bookworm? How you doing, Bookworm? Bookworm doing her thing too. Everybody getting their stuff together like it's like they want to. That's what's up, though. You know. So we're gonna I'm gonna send this out to my partner, man. And what's up, Spade, man? It's good, Spade. So I know that work schedule busting you up, man. You know what I'm saying? Gotta get that bread, though. Gotta get that dough. You already know. You know I know. You know what I'm saying? Gotta get that dough. I hope everything going all smooth your way. You know what I mean? Hope everything going all smooth your way, bro. Straight up. We're gonna get into this show today. I'm gonna holler at my man, my boy, my friend, my partner, doing this thing, music too. You know, got some good music out. I know what's up, Bookworm. Man, you gonna have to start talking too, man. I'm tired of all these hand signals and one word answers, man. Shit. That time, man, you gotta talk soon. More than 2-3 words, man. All this fists and fingers. I just messing with you. I just messing with you. Oh yeah, the early mornings. Oh man. Yeah, I know. Especially when you wake up late. And I'm bad about waking up late. You know me. I'm bad about waking up late. Oh, just messing with you, though. Let me hit up Blaze, man. Send this out to the Rock. I mean, I hope I got the right questions. Sometimes you be like, dang, I hope I got the right questions and stuff. I know. Oh yeah, I'm just messing with the Spade. I know I'm just messing with the Spade. I always gotta find a laugh somewhere. All right, Wagner, man. Take it easy, man. See if I can get Blaze up in here, man. So for those who tuned in, thank you. You know what I mean? We are, because the time difference, because I'm in Central Time, and he in Pacific Time. So, I'm 2 hours ahead. So, sometimes that can be, uh, 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 sometimes they can catch you off guard, you know what I'm saying? Because I actually got home late, and I'm like, oh, man, let me go and get set up because I'm late. I feel like I was late anyway, you know what I mean? But I was a few minutes late, but still I feel late because I started at 2. Then it's like, okay, that's 12 for you. Boom, boom. But it's like, you got to make sure that you know what's going on during your day because, like, that time can come away from you fast, real fast. You won't even notice what's going on. Like, looking at TikTok all day. You look at TikTok all day, watch how 5-6 hours just go like that. I swear, man, it's like it's just like that. Blaze Rock, what up? I see you, man. Finna hit the button and plug you in, man. All right. We're gonna have Blaze rocking here in just a few moments. Oh, 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 Blaze. Hey, Blaze, send me a request from your side, man, and see what happens. Cause I just got a crazy message on my end when I tried to add you in. Send me a request from your side, Blaze. What up, OG? All right, Bookworm. Yeah, I saw that, Blaze. It said something about when I hear it, it says Blaze Rock will need the latest version of Instagram to join in. So it's like you gotta it's telling me like it's gotta I guess what's the word I'm looking for, y'all? Um the next version, basically update, like the Play Store update. And I was like I don't wanna what you wanna do? What you wanna do, Blaze? Let me know, man. You know what I'm saying? Okay, got you. Everybody anybody watching, yeah, that's right, OG. That's right, Feedy. Let's give my guest a second, because they changed up this tech. They changing this stuff up on us every day. You know what I'm saying? But I'm playing Blaze's album in the background. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? If y'all hear the music back there, Blaze's new album. You know what I mean? It's he got some jams on the Spotify, so this is a good way for me to wait. So let me know what's up, Blaze. I'm gonna chill. You know what I mean? Fitty Committed, shout out. OG Green, shout out. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the people that was in here earlier. Shout out to the Spadenomics comments too. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's try it now. Go. Okay, there we go. Captain Gilmore, what up? I know, G, you right about this, Spade.
Boom.
Blaze, Brock,
Looks like we good.
man,
Looks
how
like
you
good. Looks
doing,
like we
man?
good.
Oh
Man, I
man,
can't
hey
complain.
man,
I
I'm
can't
doing pretty good
complain. How
myself,
you?
man. You like you said, man, can't complain at all. Well, there might be a few things to fuss about, but forget fussing. Then sometimes you gotta let it slide.
Hey, right? That's
Sometimes you
right.
gotta
I know
let it
that's right,
slide.
bro.
But
I
yo,
know that's
man,
right.
so you know what I'm saying? Well, let me go on here and let me just introduce everybody. You know what I'm saying? One's in now, one's that pop in later. I am always Push 24. Today's guest, this is episode 6. Today's guest is Blaze Rock. It's Blaze Rock on Instagram. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
One half of the BP Mercenaries, creator, MC, producer, uh, Western Block, and cross-platform co-host and producer of the
Yes, sir.
Glue
Yes,
Guys
sir.
podcast or Glue Guys show. Okay,
Yes,
podcast.
sir. It's a big.
Okay,
It's
okay,
kind of both. It's kind of
podcast
both. It's
and
both.
show.
Yes, sir. Yes,
The
sir.
Glue Guys. Um,
Yes, sir.
Also shout out to is it? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna make sure I say it right. Always. Dang, that's right.
Always
Always
full
full
sauce.
Sauce. That's the way I wrote
Always
it.
full
My bad.
sauce.
I
Yes,
wrote
sir.
it too
Always
fast.
full sauce.
And
Yes,
On
sir.
Deck Fresh. Shout out to at
Nah,
On Deck
you
Fresh
good?
too.
You good?
Them some of your people that you work with. You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir. Yes,
saying?
sir.
Uh,
Indeed.
Also, y'all check his link tree out. You got the music, Apple Music, Bandcamp, episodes of the shows, and also other music that you probably can't find. That's, you know what I mean. So y'all check out the link tree.
Yes,
So
sir.
people, this is the Blaze Rock. Now I can say, yo man, what's up? How you doing? How's everything?
Man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we
Oh
rocked
yeah.
here, man. I appreciate you having me. You know what I mean? It's a great day. It's kind of overcast
hmm
and chill out here in Arizona, but
Yes sir.
it's good days,
Yes sir,
good
man. I
days.
want to thank you also for coming in. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I know it's kind of early because I'm Central Time. You know what I'm saying? You Pacific, so we are a little ahead. Okay, so I
Nah,
wanted
it's
to
good.
catch
It's
up
good.
and catch up with you. I know I've been reaching out. You know what I'm saying? Last time I talked with you was with Chef and Brims, and that
Right,
was probably
right.
like early last year, if not later the year. So,
Yeah,
and we'd have been through.
was.
Everybody have been through a lot. You know what I'm saying? Personally and however, and people are building. So I'm gonna say that. By the first question I like to ask you, Mr. Blade, we're gonna jump into it. How's 2023 starting off for you, man?
Hey man, it's always excellent. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all in control of what happens to us for the most part, right? And ultimately, you got to look at things as how you can make them happen rather than
Hmm.
things are bad or whatnot. But for me personally, I mean, it's a lot of things in motion. I mean, I know every asshole gets on, on a live or on TV or whatever the case may be, and it was like, yeah, got big things popping. No, but in my case, we've got a lot of things, in motion. There's a lot of times that we talk about things coming and we try to make them bigger than they are. And I just like to feel, the work is always in motion. If the work is in motion, the results are going to
Yes,
be
sir.
the way you make them work for. And so that's kind of how I look at 23. I mean, what we 3 weeks in, a lot of promising opportunities, a lot of things that are going on, a lot
Uh-huh.
of changes in direction. I like to look at those changing directions as being positive because again, anytime you can make a pivot, anytime you can make a change or an adjustment or something, it's a good thing. And sometimes it's just something you haven't seen. So I'm excited about 23.
Okay, okay.
It's gonna be a good year.
And that's exactly how I feel too. I try my best to not just try, but I came into 2023 with the feeling of, yo, I'm gonna push it to the next level for myself. Somewhere I ain't never been before. It's time to experience new things. It's time to stop settling for a little bit and go for a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely. I
I
agree.
feel
I agree.
where I'm at, I definitely feel like I'm a humble person. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you can be too humble and let stuff slide. So you know what I'm saying?
I
So
agree.
it's a few
I
things in
agree.
my life that I'm stepping on the tail of it. Where you going? Hey, hold on, come back here. I got to fix this. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm glad you said that because I tend to kind of do the same thing, and that's it's kind of a look that I've been trying to approach this year for the same reasons. Because a lot of time, I have to say myself, I always look at myself as
Mhm.
a hard hat worker type,
Mhm.
blue collar worker type. When it comes to the media, for the music, all this stuff that we do, I look at it like I just want to put my head down and build. I want to put my head down, work. I'm not worried about telling everybody I'm the best or all that
Right.
bullshit because it doesn't matter, right? If you have to tell somebody, you probably aren't doing enough, and that's how I focus on the work. But like you said, that sometimes that humility, sometimes that modesty gives people the impression that you're not there or that you're not, that you're not what you are. I'm always looking for a
Mhm.
way to compete, looking for a way to get better. And the only way that you do that is to continue to look at it like, yeah, how can I do more? How can I make sure, you know what I'm saying, that people are getting the
Yes, sir.
full impact of what I do. I just saw somebody said in the chat, and forgive me if I misparaphrase that, but yeah, they said sometimes too humble is complacent,
Right.
and that's absolutely right. And I absolutely shout out to them for that point. Not too humble, yeah, exactly, because you start to look at it like, hey, I'm doing the work. It's just other people. Nah, I want both sides. I want to know that I'm doing the work, and I want to work that much harder to make sure that people recognize my impact or recognize
Right.
what I'm able to
Okay.
do.
Cool. Cool. And and I understand. Thank you for saying it too. I definitely understand. Shout out to Spade too. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah, shout out, shout out.
Um.
That was
So
timely for real.
just jump right into it. Do you remember
Yes, sir.
October 27th? Do you remember that day? I'm gonna have to remind you. Okay. Okay.
No,
I'm gonna remind
you
you
got to
because when I
remind me.
remind
You're
you,
gonna have to remind me.
being creative sometimes is a defeating position. You remember writing that? Okay.
Absolutely.
October
Yes, yes, we
27th of
do. Yeah,
last
yeah, yeah,
year, if I ain't
yeah.
mistaken. It's either last year
Yes,
or
sir.
2021. I forgot to look at that date, but okay,
It was
22.
22.
Okay,
It
now,
was 22. Yeah, it was
now, you
22.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I saw that post, and I remember I chimed in on it and was like, yo, man, so like the salute, I understood where you was coming from. You know what I'm saying? Uh, drained, you know what I'm saying? Drained from the cost and effort. Not cut to
absolutely.
be popular, but motivated by doing things. Taking a break, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's time to do something else. Tired. Now, after that, you know what I'm saying? It seemed like all of a sudden something woke you up and you just started dropping. You just started dropping. Like, was that like a was that like a mental thing where you had to like just chill, like you had to let it go, you had to leave it alone? Like, what was that moment like for you to go through that? And then what was the bounce back process?
I think it's all always going to be a regroup, right? I think a lot of people get so focused on the grind. Everybody says grind this, hustle this, blah blah blah. But at the same time, you can only do as much as you have energy for. So think of it like a metaphor for your car, right? You might have a brand new car, you're rolling around in the car and you're excited and everything's going right, and you thinking to yourself, yeah, I did it. Then let's say 6 months down the road, you don't put gas in the car. Let's say a year later, you don't put gas in, you don't change the oil, you don't check your tires, you don't do the maintenance things that are necessary. That car is not going to
Right.
function the way it was before. It's not going to function the way you want it to. And as an artist, as a person in general, we're very much the same way. Our lives are built on that energy. They're built on that fuel. And that fuel's a little more nebulous when you're talking about people, of course, because it's not always just attention. It's not always money. It's not always sleep or food or something like that. It's really a combination of all of those energies that have come around you. Sometimes it's your own personal look in the mirror to say, hey, you know what? Am I doing what I need to be doing? Am I doing enough? Am I going about this the right way? Sometimes it's stepping back and looking at some things that haven't worked the way you want them to. Not as a matter of saying, okay, people aren't doing this, it's their fault. Really looking at yourself internally and saying, what can I do better, or what can I do more, or how can I do more? But at the same time, with all of the mores and the futures and et cetera that we like to talk about, at the end of the day, I can't fix tomorrow. I can't do anything about the past. I can only set myself up for today, the present. And so with that comment, that whole post really was just me kind of saying, hey, I recognize that I'm running on low fuel. Whether that's energy wise, whether that's I don't feel like I'm reaching the levels or the boundaries that I've set for myself or something like that. It was really me saying, hey, at the end of the day, no matter what happens around and externally, I have to be prepared to do what I need to do. And I have to be appropriately energized and appropriately fueled, to do those things. And so I think it was both, a wake up call and a bit of awareness or self-awareness on my part, a little bit of frustration, obviously. And I know you can relate, as a creative, sometimes we have these ideas and we've thought through these ideas. We've fought through our own self-doubt. We've thought through the ideas and reasons that we think things can't work. And so when we really do bring those out to fruition and we bring them out to the public, there's a point where we all expect more. And when we don't get that, that's the key to how you respond to that. Whether you see that as a failure, whether you see that as a shortcoming, whether you see that as as an intermediary step, how you approach that is going to be important. So I was kind of looking at myself like, as I'm talking to myself and, and looking at different projects and things that we were doing or things that we did, and maybe they didn't hit what I wanted, or thinking that some things that I wanted to do that I just didn't, or, I was just afraid to put it out, or I didn't have the confidence in myself. And so it was one of those things where it's like, you gotta be the best you before anybody's going to recognize who you are. And so, I think it was all in the same vein. I think I think Instagram plays you out because I was good, like right after I wrote it. But sometimes you just need an external reminder. You might be saying it out loud, but sometimes you just want to remind yourself that, hey, there's things that I could be doing better and I want to do better at it. So yeah,
what's up, Allegiance? How you doing, Allegiance? Make sure you follow Blaze Rock. Follow Blaze Rock. Got some deep. They got some deep cuts. We're gonna get into that music too, cause that audience of one.
Sure, yeah.
That audience of one. That we getting there. But thank you for the answer though, because when I saw that, I was like, yo, my first thought was, man, what's going on with Blaze? You know what I'm saying? Like, of course people gonna think that when they cool with you, what's going on with Blaze? Then, I'm one of the people that mind my business, so I'm like, okay, cuz tired. When I seen tired down there, when I seen that word tired, like I read it, but when I seen tired, it was in capital letters, I was like, okay, I know where he coming from on that. I know, but I don't know, but I know. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I do think, what, let me, I will say something else, and I know that you probably relate to this, but it's crazy as, as an artist, as a musician or as a designer or whatever, all the different things, all the different hats we wear. Sometimes I know I do a good job, or I try to do a good job of it. You try to silo life from that, you know what I'm saying? Because you can be frustrated as an artist. You're not getting the views you want, or you're not getting the listens you want, or you're not getting the impact you want, and that can be frustrating while the rest of your life is perfect. You know what I'm saying? And for me, the rest of my life, family life, home life, etc., is leaps and bounds different than what was going on, musically. And I try to focus a lot of what I put out, to that music side, to the entertainment side, to the interest side of things, while at the same time, making sure that people realize, yeah, you're a human, and it's absolutely important that you don't disconnect from the other ventures and things that you're doing, but you connect with them and you look at it like this is a balance. One thing's gonna be going great, other things could be going not so great, but ultimately I'm still in charge of them, and I'm able to do what I need to do to make them better for me. So, and that's really the approach all the time. That's to me, that's the only way you can do it. I know a lot of people focus on, oh, I'm only positivity only, but that's a lie. You know what I mean? We're not,
You're right.
nobody's positive all the time. The reality is how you adjust to the things that don't go the way you want, and how you turn those into, positive opportunities, or more importantly, how you turn those into forward facing opportunities. So yeah, that's what I'm always on, man. I'm always trying to get myself right. I can't help nobody else if I can't help me.
True. My bad, Legion. I see you. I quit. I say I don't smoke cigarettes no more. Sometimes I had to hit me one every now and then. I understand. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
heard that.
sorry, Diamond Onyx. What's up, Six? Um, and would you say that like I try my best to stay on the positive vibe, without drowning nobody. You know what I'm saying? You sometimes, because
Exactly.
there are people who can oversaturate it, overdo it, to a point where you don't believe them. It's like you don't even want to be bothered with them. You know what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
so it's
Absolutely.
like, and I have my bad days, and sometimes I have to snap myself back into reality. Like, why am I, like, man, let me get back to being me, or just be quiet. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Man,
right.
saying in that
That's
time when
right.
you need to
That's
let it
right.
out, because if you hold it in, mentally it can beat you up, and physically it can beat you up because insomnia and things of that nature jump in, and that's something that a lot
Yes.
of people don't. Uh, some people can't. Like my mom, she bad with stress. You know, she let it out, but she let it
Yeah.
out the old school way, fussing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Right. Right.
just looking and learning and listening to what you're saying too. You know what I mean? And it's like sometimes, like you say, you gotta take a break mentally. You gotta take a break mentally because your body ain't
Yep.
gonna do nothing with their head
Yep.
don't tell it to. You know what I mean? So,
Ain't that the
um,
truth? That's the truth.
what's been the latest? No. Hold on. Back up. Tell me about the Glue Guys podcast show, man. Because last time I talked with you, that wasn't going on.
All right, for sure. Right, for sure. Well, it
I
was.
didn't see it.
Well,
I didn't see it.
yeah, because
I didn't see it.
okay, so it has been a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's been a minute though. Like we are in what we call our second season. It's the Glue Guys program, blueguysprogram.com. We're also here on Instagram, obviously, as Blue Guys Program. And so the show started off. It's me and my man Mark. It started off primarily as a Arizona softball, slow pitch softball show. We have since, of course, kind of expanded to it being more of a lifestyle show. So we talk about a lot of things. We talk about sports. We talk about video games. We talk about all kinds of different topics, but it's primarily
Mhm.
rooted in Arizona softball. And so we are on what amounts to about 60 episodes. So this is our second season, equating to second year. We went about it a little different. I know everybody with podcasts like to just keep going with episodes or whatever, but we wanted to
Mhm.
keep resetting every season, and so we call them seasons. They're it's a year, but we call it a season. We reset our platform, the way we do things. We bring on different ideas, different things, and we're trying out different ways to improve the show and grow. We've had a tremendous following all of us since we started. It has continued to grow week after week after week. It's great, dude. I mean, it's been really fun seeing the impact that it's had on the Arizona softball community, and seeing how people have gravitated to the show and the entertainment and how we do things on the show has been fantastic. So yeah, it's fun. We're starting to branch out and do more topics like hats and things like that. And then from another exciting point of view, the intro
Mhm.
is actually one of the BP Mercenary songs called Spikes Up. And so that's always dope to be able to kind of incorporate some of the Clink stuff and the BP Mercenaries and other folks that that I work with, even though they aren't necessarily on the program. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. It's growing, and it's exciting to see something
And
turn out, how it has so far.
you know what I'm saying? Brief history. Like like how y'all come together? That squad right there. It's like is that always uh,
Uh, Um, well, this one, my man Mark, he and I we played softball
Okay.
on a team in which he was a coach for a while. We've been friends ever since then. And just just knowing each other and knowing the things that we do and the ideas that we have, we just kind of came together and said, hey, let's do something. Let's do something here. And then we're continuing to iterate on that initial idea. The initial idea was, hey, let's do a show about softball, whatever, so that people
Mm-hmm.
can have somewhere to go and listen to. And we've continued to iterate from there just to keep growing it and growing it, and try to get different points of view, different positions, different things that we can do to make it entertaining and and draw people both to our show, but also to the community
Okay.
and make things a little bit better. So it's just a matter of meeting of the minds, man. The right like
Okay.
minds speaking about like
Okay.
things. So,
Smooth, smooth. And as far as day and time, I don't know if I missed it or not. What's the schedule for that show? If people want to check it out.
absolutely, we're every Wednesday. Yeah, every Wednesday at 6:30 MST. So I'm Mountain Standard Time. So but we are there every week on
Okay.
Wednesday, 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. You can check us out at glueguysprogram.com. We're also on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on Facebook, obviously. You can check the show out. It's a great show. Even if you're not into softball, you don't know shit about softball, don't care about softball, the show is not a softball show. We spend a good amount of time talking about all kinds of different things. In some cases, it's just sports. Like I know this coming week, one of our episodes going to have a lot about, NFL playoffs, both, the week that just passed, as well
Mm-hmm.
as, the division championships that are coming up. To talk a little bit about, some gaming
Okay.
stuff like Call of Duty. We are constantly playing. We're often playing DMZ. A lot of the time, even during the show, we'll stream live. We'll stream games live and things like that. So yeah, anybody that's interested, just have a good time and enjoy some humor and whatnot. It's glueguysprogram.com will
Mm-hmm.
get you right over to YouTube, or if you just happen to be on Twitch or here on Instagram, Glue Guys
Also check
Program is the way
your
to find us.
also your link tree too. If they can't find none, go to your link tree. You know what I'm saying? So y'all
Yes,
check out the
absolutely,
link tree
absolutely.
also. Go to Follow Blade Rock. Check out the link tree, and it'll give you directions to the channels.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
sir.
Episodes, music,
Yes, sir.
Spotify, YouTube, Twitch. Go to it. Check it out. You know what I'm saying? Be a supporter. Be a supporter.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I
Absolutely.
did that. I went and looked and listened. And I'm like, yo, man, it's like I'm missing out. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a lot of information on there, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Let's see
sir.
where I want to go. Let me ask you this. Let's get on the hip hop level for a second.
All
Uh,
right.
uh,
All right.
I see you as OG as me. You know what I'm saying? We around the same. I think we kind of maybe close around the same era age. You know, I'm 42. 80. Okay,
I'm
okay, okay.
43.
80s
We in there. You
born.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see all these grades? You know what I'm saying?
Smooth. So let me ask you this because I
Right.
listened to the audience of one. I took a brief listen. We're gonna get into that too. But I listened and just going from that message and then listening to this, and I'm like, I already had a view of how you speak. I like how you speak. I like how BP Mercenary laid it down on the mic. You know what I'm saying? I like how y'all lay it down on the mic. You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying?
Yes, sir.
But this album right here sound a little more like a little more drawn from inside. Like you act like you know what I'm saying, like a little more personal, a little more mental thinking, a little more. It's like you telling folks, uh, uh, listen up, like listen up. You know what I'm saying? I come from that to ask for you. What has changed more in hip hop? Is it the moral codes or is it the originality? When you look at it looking at it from the top of a mountain, in your perspective.
Yeah, from a 30,000 point view, bro, I'm gonna say I know it, and I know it's not popular opinion, but I think creativity is
Mm-hmm.
at an all time high. I know that. I mean, no matter what, and I know us old folks, especially, us get off my lawn,
Mm-hmm.
old dudes, old heads. We like to pretend. We like to pretend like our era, was all just the top of the line rappers that we all know and love right now as legends, whatever. But the reality is that's
Mm-hmm.
bullshit, and we know it, right? Well, there was plenty of loop duping, copycat characters throughout the time that when I was younger or whatever. There was plenty of folks that, like, for example, when Wu Tang got popular, then all of a sudden everybody wanted to throw karate flicks and whatnot in the background of their music. Everybody gravitated to RZA's style of production, for example. Everybody started taking over you know, the slang talk that that Ghost and Ray were doing, things like that, right? We all know that, but we like to forget that, you know. The past gives us a chance to rewrite the future, type of shit. The reality is, people are just as creative right now, if not more so, because there's more outlets to be creative. And I think, you know, hip hop and music and culture as a whole right now, we're more open to the unique, the individual, the original,
Right.
than we ever were. You know, I remember when I first started trying to rap and, you know, trying to put something together, whatever. I wanted to sound and be like the other cats that I thought I was doing it, right? But then after I started doing it for a little bit, and then I realized that, you know, the difference is my own voice and what I bring to it. And so I started to try to be, you know, as unique as I possibly could within that framework. I think people are still doing that. I think people are trying to find ways to be themselves, you know, in where people are still looking for the next such and such. So I don't think that's changed really at all. I wouldn't even say the moral code of things has changed really at all, because people were shitty and shady forever. You know, and outside of music, if you really keep it a buck, whether you're a Christian or not or something like that, right? If you look in the Bible's littered with people that were just shady people. You know what I'm saying? So if the Bible is that many years and centuries, et cetera, ago, you know, if you look through history, it's the same type of thing. In any platform, any situation in society, whenever there's humans, there's a situation for that. So I think that's largely, you know, that goes in line with life. Our society right now is at that point where some of those things don't matter as much, or we don't put as much emphasis on those things. And I think, you know, our music reflects the life around it. And so to pretend like it's separate, you know, I think that's inappropriate on, you know, some of our old heads do it. And I think it's inappropriate. What I think is dope, compared to back then, there were a lot more gatekeepers and a lot more gatekeeping going on. You had to know somebody. You had to have the right connection to get, you know, to even get your music recorded. You know, you had to have the right people, know the right people. You had to have a little money to do all that. You know, nowadays you don't have to do that, dude. Nowadays, $150 puts you on the road to being able to make music. You know what I'm saying? Or $100, or in some cases, I see dudes and ladies doing the shit on their phones. You know, right on the spot. You already got a phone. You do what you do. So the barrier to entry has created more opportunities for people to be more creative, more open, more unique, and I think that's what continues to make hip hop grow. Now, whether that means that all of this shit is good or not, that's the part where I'm like, yo, might be creative, but creative can still be trash, right? So I think it's a balance. There's a lot of really dope music, underground, mainstream or otherwise. There's a lot of shit music, mainstream, underground or otherwise. But I think we notice it also more because there's more ways for us to get to that music now than, you know, any time when I was a kid or you were a kid. Or I remember when I was in high school, man, I had to, you know, ride a bus across the town to get to a CD store to get the CDs that I wanted. You know what I mean? Whereas now I could just literally pop my phone up and bam, I'm in there. So all of those things I think affect the changes, man. I think hip hop's in a good place. It's just in a place that's different than it was.
Right, man. That's a good way to break it down too, man. What I think what everything you said right, and I was one of them. You know what I mean? What gets me now, which it shouldn't get me now, but I guess now that I'm in that position to hear it, it's like I'm the remakes, like the remakes. It's the
Yeah.
remakes, dog. It's like I was listening to the radio, which I really hate the radio now, and it's like I'm listening to, you know, like the song. The first time I heard this one song was by the Fugees. The Ready or Not, Here You Come. Now it's like
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
just
sir.
hear that over and over, and they just take apart, move apart, cut down a part, add a hey and a yo and a whoo, and they whatever they tag is, and it's like yo. Then as soon as that go off, another track come on from another song. I'm like yo, it's like maybe it's me. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember when we was go ahead.
Well, I mean, it is and it ain't though. But think about it, because even the example you used, bro, Fuji's killing me softly is not their song, bro. They sampled that. You know what I mean? I think it's funny though. It is one of those things that the trends go away and they come back. Because I mean, dude, if you think about all them joints that Puffy made,
Man.
Bad Boy made in general during that window of time, all they were they were sampling previous friggin' hits and reinterpolating them and making it into something crazy that we own as our own, but it ain't. And you know what I'm saying? And you know, now again, like you said, you've reached that time period, and not everybody gets to that time, but you reach that time where what we did and what we heard and what we thought was crazy. Now these kids and now these younger cats are like, yo, that was crazy. Let's do this shit again. And so it's the same thing. My only issue with that though is when it's a trash ass sample of a song that was hard. Like there's an example right now that this new cat, I can't remember his name right now. He's on Gucci's label. He sampled Still Tipping from Mike Jones. And I'm sorry, for me, that's off limits as fuck, bro. Because that's easily one of the best beats, period, in my lifetime, right? You cannot get on that song and not do it justice. And this dude got the sample of it and whatever. And no, sir. No, sir. No, sir. That's my whole, so that's why I can agree with you. Because there's some of them where you be like, dog, you needed to leave that alone. But you know what? Again, I can't hate on them because they want to try something new. But again, it's up to everybody, up to listeners, old and new, hold some of these cats accountable. Because at the end of the day, it's trash, and we ain't supposed to be. We ain't supposed to be
exactly, man. And I try to understand, because it's like, okay, well, yo, they doing what they doing to feed their fam, get themselves up. So it's like, it's just. I had to take it and be like, I just don't agree. I had to agree to disagree with your track, bro. But I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, man, I just wanted to ask that, you know what I'm saying? Because I know everybody have a different opinion in it. Some enjoy it, some don't even listen to it at all. They just stick to that era because they're like, well, if I can't find nothing to listen to now, I'm just gonna listen to what I always listen to anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When it comes to writing, man, what's different now from then for you?
I think the biggest thing is I'm a different person. I'm older. I have different priorities. Different things affect me different than they did. And I think also if you're an adult, I won't say a grown man, and I'll just say if you're an adult and you still feel and function the same way you did at 40 as you do at 20, you're doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? I think the energy, the idea of being a musician or being a rapper or whatever. I think that means something completely different than it did. For example, I think one of my first real albums put out or whatever was around 2000 to 2004, 2005 area, right? And so when you look at that amount of time, which is a long period of time, I look at it like I think my first son was born not too long before, and I had a couple daughters ahead of him. Well, now, I mean, that man's a man now. You know what I'm saying? He was a baby when an album dropped, and now he's a grown ass man. And so my point in saying that is really just to say that there's no way that my approach or what's circulating in my mind or whatever is the same as when as back then. But what I will say is, at the end of the day, that's the point of being an artist, is you want a level of growth, both as a person, both as an artist, because those things are supposed to fuel each other. As I get better as an MC, I get better as a person. As I get better as a person, I get better as an MC, because I'm able to convey, different points of view, different attitudes, different everything, an entirely different background, foreground or otherwise. As a writer, as an artist, as an MC. We like to often talk about how it's important for MCs to be able to bring, knowledge or bring different points of view, but it's really like TV, right? You don't go and watch TV and watch the same show every single day. And even when you do watch the same show, right? I always laugh because, Law and Order Special Victims Unit have been on forever, right? And I love SVU.
Yes.
I watch SVU all the time. But what we don't always like to accept, or what we don't always think about, is SVU has changed every couple of years. SVU has adjusted and changed, whether it's different cast members, different lighting, different camera approaching, different things like that. Those changes, while subtle, are changes, and it's a process of evolution. As an MC, that's something that I really believe is true. It's difficult for me to write some bullshit rapping, about about some silly
Right.
shit that I
Right.
don't experience, right? I'm not out in the
True.
street chasing broads or no shit like that, right? So I don't need to talk about no shit like that because it's not
Okay.
something I'm involved in. I'm as a man or as a person who, I got a wife, I got family, and I got bills and shit. I got a real job and shit. How I look acting like I'm super captain pimp or some shit like
It
that. It
don't
just
mix.
doesn't compute. There are times where you want to be fictional, and I think everyone understands that fiction. The good point is, like you brought up about BP Mercenaries. I look at it as a writer. I look at that as a very different thing than when I'm writing a Blaze Rock song or a Blaze Rock album. Because I'm trying to convey, something that the user can't see. Yeah, there's a logo like the hat you're wearing right now, the Mecha Kong album, right? That's all we really have is the logo. We have that front fit, and it's our job to create something that inspires the listener to imagine these things visually, and that connection between that audible music, the music, the lyrics, etc., then create another aspect of the
Hmm.
visual that is the hat. So I think that's a big deal, is being able to get to those points where you can talk about those things, and you can kind of bounce through reality, life, and living life, and go into something that's more comic or anime inspired or things like that, and use that for a good time and
Okay.
entertain people with it.
Hmm. Oh, and you did mention BP Mercenary. So, what that journey been like? You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying, kids are grown now from when you first started. You know what I'm saying? And I know
Right,
when it
right.
comes to the BP Mercenary, you guys are a great team. You know what I'm saying? So, what's the BP Mercenary been like? You know what I'm saying? And especially now, because uh, also when I looked on your link tree, don't y'all have or are you showing a sample of some stuff that y'all got coming up or already going? I seen a title on there. I think did I write it down? Much-
My link tree might be lazily
Okay,
updated, but I can I
okay,
can I
okay.
can feel I can fill that in. So, yeah, and to the point of your first question, like, it's been a crazy journey for us with BP Mercenaries. Obviously, shout out to
Go nut.
Paco, even though he's not here right with us right here right now. Yes, sir. So what we did when we first approached it, we I love
Mhm.
this story. It's quick. I'll be quick about it. I had another song that Paco actually had produced also, called King Kong. And we became aware of the Clink Room shortly after that song was released. And it was crazy because we just, we kept thinking, I was thinking, Paco was in the same boat. I don't draw that well. I mean, I do some designing, but I'm not an illustrator, right? And so, watching some of these crazy designs come up and down, we really wanted to be a part of it. But of course, if you're not a solid level artist, you don't need to be doing that shit, first of all. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a perfectionist, and then I'm not trying to put some crap out that looks like ass, and everybody be like, "Who is this dude?" Nah, I don't want my name on some boo boo and stuff, right? So, we kind of brainstormed a little bit, and I was messing around, and just
Mhm.
kind of remixed my own song and said, instead of King Kong, we switched it up to Clink Kong. And so then I actually went back and I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna write a whole couple verses for this, and see what happens. So we ended up writing the verses. Everything about it really is from the original song, and I just rewrote the hook, obviously, and more closely interpolated things from that point. And then we actually sent it over to Casey and Jason. Um, and it took them a while to get us back because we didn't know it at the time, but they were at the winter meetings for Major League Baseball and minor league baseball. So it took them a time to get back. When they got back to it, they were blown away. And it just totally created a great friendship, great partnership. And we have since then we've continued to do different projects off of based on some of the hats that are out. We don't have like a fancy style of picking what hats we decide to do. It just you see something you like it and you say, hey, let's do something
Yeah.
different with it. Let's add to that. And one of my goals as an MC, as a writer, legitimately, because of course I'm writing what I'm writing what you're hearing. I'm writing the approach or whatever. But my biggest thing is I want to do the artists who did the design justice. I want to do something that accentuates what they created, respectfully, obviously, with a level of hip hop that maybe they didn't include, or even if they did, we want to add to that. And so it always comes across, we try to take it from a standpoint of respect and partnership rather than, just stealing somebody's shit. That's why, we always go through the process of making sure, that we credit that artist or that we let them know that, hey, we did this and, we're really excited about it or whatever. I think then once we moved on to doing another set of projects called Launch Angles. So BP Mercenaries Launch Angle projects are all based on us wanting to do a small, couple of, usually it's 3 to 4 songs at most. We wanted to be able to present a whole vibe for a set of designs. The first one we did was Launch Angle 1 with the Dopest Robot, and we were really excited because a lot of her designs hadn't necessarily made it into production. And for different reasons, we don't know. There was stuff that I really liked, Paco really liked, and a lot of people liked, but it just didn't make it into production. So we wanted to kind of give some highlight to a designer like that. And so we worked very closely with her to create some very unique artwork and whatnot for the project, and so that it would continue to kind of build up what she does and what she has done, while also giving us a different facet of what we do. So we usually bounce through. We have 2 types of projects right now. We have our leagues. Leagues are usually based on, most definitely based on Clink album projects. They are, thematic in the sense that we just kind of decide how we want to approach it and we go from there. The launch angles are a little more personal. They're smaller projects, and they're usually with one designer, whereas the leagues are usually across, 6 or 7 different designers. But the launch angle is usually one designer. We do something really short and thematic, where it kind of, again, boosts the specter of their designs or of the artist, but boosts our, just trying to give everybody some attention. So we're doing a lot. We also just finished that remix league with the Clink, which again, I'll go back to, it's different, different designers, in a full package, so to speak. That remix league thing was so exciting for us to be able to have our hand in some designing, to put out a full pack of hats, etc. Thought that was really, it was just amazing. And really just being able to design out some ideas, a lot of the ideas that that were there, we had some input, we were able to put those out there, and then have that music, released essentially at the same time. It's been a blast. So we've seen a whole lot of growth over the last year and a half or so compared to the first few times that we did it. We got a lot of people that listened to us back then, but now it's very different. So we've had the opportunity to do the intro for Views from the Vault. A couple other things we have in the making. That's why I said 23 is going to be great. We have some plans that we're working on, with a couple of different outlets, with a couple of different people, in the hat space. So it's just coming and coming and coming, and it's really dope. And I know I'm super appreciative. I always look at it as, and I tell my wife all the time, that BP Mercenaries is one of those things where it's kind of a love project, and it's something that I love to do as far as being involved with the hat community and doing something unique. And then at the same time, being able to kind of puff your chest out and say, we're the only ones doing this the way we do it, right? It isn't necessarily saying we the onlys or the first, and because that's a little weird. But being able to say that we're doing it the way we want to, and we're getting the impact that we are is a great
and how how as far as the VP Mercenaries, how old is that? Like y'all, like when would the 10-year anniversary be for the album or something like that? You know what I'm saying?
Shit. See, now you making me feel real old. You're making me think old. Nah, I mean, honestly, it's hard for me to. I will say, no matter what, it's been at least we're getting close to 10 years at this point. I know that we had there was a big gap between the first project, the Elements League that we did, to when we did the Comeback League. It's been a while. I think we're coming up on 10 years here really, 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 really soon. It's been at least 8. No, it's been at least 9, 8 or 9 right now. And I would even say if Paco was here, he'd probably be able to tell me it really is more than 10 right now. Because man, time flies, and I'm old, bro. I don't pay attention to the year no more. I just pay attention to what we got going forward. I'm not even gonna lie, So yeah, but we've been doing that. We've been doing that for a good while. I'll even say, look, we did our first BP Mercenaries project, Elements League. We did that when it was Clink Room, what everyone refers to as Clink Room 1.0. Before Clink Room had shut down for a period of time, we had done that. We had done Elements League. Then of course once Clink Room came back, and we did another one. So it's been a while, and it's
So,
been
because
largely great.
I asked that just because just looking at all the work that y'all have put in, you know what I'm saying? And then when I go back and look at it, just like I said, when I went to your Spotify, you know what I'm saying? And I was looking, and I was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm like, yo, dude. I was like, man, y'all put in a lot of work. Cause, you know what I'm saying? Cause like I scroll,
Yes, sir.
and then we know how sometimes when you scroll, it's like they're gonna never stop. And I'm like, yo, man, y'all to put in. Then I'm looking how
Yeah.
it's going,
Yes. Yes.
2016, 17, 15, 14, just going. And I'm like, oh, you've been putting out
Yes.
music for a long
Yeah.
time, man. But that's how it is when
Yes,
you
sir.
find an artist that you like. It's not from your state. It's not from your time zone. And when you go through their catalog, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, yo, like, how did I miss this? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how did I miss this? You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Absolutely.
Um, and when it comes to the clinker room, you know what I'm saying? The clinker room community, you know what I mean? Like, what's that been like? Because I know the hats that they make, ain't nobody copying them. Like, these is once in a lifetime. These is once, you know what I'm trying to say? These
Right.
one of ones,
One on
right?
one.
And y'all right there in it. So,
Yeah.
like, what's the clink room like been like, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's doing music for them, collabing together with them, you know, having to wait till they break back out. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's that been like? You know what I'm saying?
I think I'll say first and foremost, and I know like a lot of people that, that pay attention to Clink stuff or follow the Clink Room. You'll see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different artists and different folks who have a lot of great things to say about the Clink, and you'll hear a lot of people say a lot of things. I'm saying as somebody who my interaction with the Clink was obviously unorthodox. It was unusual. It was different than most people, right? Most people, it's based on they're either a consumer who's buying hats or they're a designer who's designing hats and then gets a hat made or something like that. And there's a
Yeah.
Venn diagram that meets in the middle of that, right? For me, it's always been kind of different, and to see that difference be almost the same as what everybody else describes has been, amazing. Casey has taken care of us and been helpful for us, and I mean anything and everything you could possibly imagine as a positive word or or a thankful word or whatever is about all I got
Mm-hmm.
for the Clink Room. They have always been, again, they've always been super supportive of, the community in general, of what we do. Um, there's literally nothing about it that I could say is negative. I think the biggest difficulty we've ever had is, as partners or as people that work very closely with the Clink Room and some of the artists, it's hard for us not to want to jump in front of negative comments that people have
Heard.
about the Clink Room, right? And so during the pandemic, when New Era was having issues getting hats out, a lot of that vitriol was turned towards the Clink. And so it's very difficult for us not to kind of jump in and say, wait a minute, hold on, bro. Y'all ain't gonna keep doing it with my people like that type of thing. So that part I would say was a learning experience. In conversations with Casey, for example, there's a lot of things that I've learned and really taken to heart. Things that I've watched them do and how they've handled them. Those have been really positive, beneficial things that I'm using and have used in other capacity. But it's been nothing but positive for us, directly BP Mercenaries with regards to the Clink Room. It has opened up, so many different opportunities to meet different people, work with different people, different types of partnerships and opportunities. So it's a crazy thing to be able to see that and be involved in it and just continue to watch that grow from, when we first started rocking with the Clink, man, there was here's the hats that are coming, and here's this one that's coming this month, and then maybe a few months or whatever. And just so to see that model kind of change and grow to something just astronomical, because let's be real, nobody gives a fuck how long it
True.
takes if they
True.
ain't interested, right? So people started getting interested, then then things kind of went haywire with the pandemic. But the fact that so many people have been interested and continue to be so is very dope. It's
Oh.
very good to hear.
And also, you know what I'm saying? Is hat collecting still a hobby for you, Blaze, man? Or is it just
Man, I don't know. Man, I don't know if I ever. I don't, see, that's where I say like I might be the outlier for hats and whatnot, because I mean I have a lot of hats and I love hats and I love buying hats. But I think I've gotten to a point where I buy hats because
mm-hmm.
I like a hat. I've never been really the type to want to collect per se. And that, I know that sounds kind of contradictory for me to say, oh, I don't like to collect, but I collect, right? That's not what I mean. I see a lot of folks who they buy hats and they got to tell everybody that they buy hats, or they got to show everybody. I just like the hat. And as long as I have the hat, I'm happy. I don't need to say nothing. I don't need to show nothing. I'm good. So for me, I don't know if it was as much as, to me, a hobby is an action item, right? You're doing something and keeping track of it. I'm a collector in the very, very proper sense of collecting hats. I buy hats that I like, and I have a collection of hats that I like. I only buy what I like. I don't buy what's, popular or whatever the fuck, or, what's the heater of the week or the month or something like that. If I don't like it, I don't fuck with it. As an example, I know right now over the last few months that Bison, MILB Bison hat, I think that shit's ugly as fuck, bro. I will never buy one of those. I don't fuck with them. I don't care. And so I've had a few opportunities where I could have jumped on them, but I don't like that shit, so I don't buy it. I have a lot of clean hats, because I do like the idea, like kind of like you alluded to earlier, that a lot of that shit's one-on-one. You're not gonna find, if I run into a cat that's wearing it, it's like a 1 in a million chance, right? The Mecha Kong hat you're wearing right now, if I wear that motherfucker 3 times, I'm gonna have people coming to me like, yo, where you get that from? That shit's crazy. On the other hand, if I wear like an Oakland A's joint or a Royals or Tigers or you name it, by and large, people are gonna be like, oh, that's fresh, and kind of going about their business. So I think that's the part for me, is just having unique hats that look cool, that I like, that I enjoy, and that way I can walk in the room and be like, yeah, I'm gonna wear this shit today, or something like that. So I'm more of a wearer collector type. As long as it fit, as long as it looks. And
right, you can tell, I could tell too, because like when I was looking at the profile again, and I was like, I'm thinking I'm already knowing he gonna support the click room. I'm gonna see their hats on there. I'm gonna see them. But then, like, if I'm just looking for just a different type hat, you ain't gonna see it on your page, because Cuz keep his collection.
I mean, look, dude, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I have probably 300 to 400 Major League Baseball hats. All the joints that everybody's always looking for from Hat Club and Capsule and all these shits like that everybody's clamoring for. I have a lot of them. I just, it's not the same though. Like, let's be real, right? For impact, it's not the same. I got a couple Tigers joints with the Crow Tiger on it, right? I wear that, everybody goes nuts, right? But it's really because of the design, right? It's not because of the Tigers hat. But if I wear like a Yankee joint, or wear a San Francisco Giants or something that's just basically the same logo, flip color, or whatever, people don't outside of hat dudes, they don't give a fuck. They like, hey, when they start doing that. I wore a maroon Oakland A's hat that I have. It's maroon, and the A is, I think, gold or yellow or something like that. It's basically like ASU colors, Arizona State colors. I wore it somewhere, and this one guy that I know, he's like, when did the A's change team colors? I've never seen anything like that. And then I remembered, again, to your point from earlier, we're old. And everybody that I deal with is old. You know what I'm saying? So so I'll wear something like that and I get 80 questions of confusion. Whereas if I wear one of my clinks or something, they're like, hey, that's a really awesome hat. That's a dope hat, whatever. So that's why, I feel like there's a million times a million, MLB flips and color flips and, the color wheel, popularity shit right now. There's a million of those. But there's not a million clink room joints. There's not a million clinks that you're going to see a million times. You're going to see it once. You're going to see another head maybe post it on their Instagram or something like that. But for the most part, it's a unique experience. And that's pretty much why a lot of the time I put more emphasis on, whenever I do show a hat or I'm wearing a hat.
And that's a great way to segue into that. I'm pretty sure you already answered this in so many words. But when it comes to the fitted community, where we at now, what type of change, like from when you first started collecting, but to reasons that you want to collect for, and then once you see the change in the landscape, then let's say the groups start coming in and blah blah blah, and then you get to that point to where, look, I'm just gonna collect like this because this is what I want to do. And I'm gonna support with who I rock with, and then now we're here now. between that gap, like what has been one of the biggest changes in the fitted community that you've seen? You know what I'm saying, as a whole.
I think one thing is a matter of growth,
Mm-hmm.
and it's both a positive and a negative. In that, the interest in fitted hats has changed so significantly, and I think that interest started when fitted hats started being replaced by snaps, and then the snaps were then replaced again by fitteds. I think anytime you have a culture grow at such an exponentially fast
Mm-hmm.
rate as the fitted community has, as fitteds in general have, I think that's where things change, and things change for the better or for the worse or both. I think it's really a combination of both, because you have a lot more people interested in looking for more things, which means there are a lot more people interested in being involved, which means there are more cliques, more silos, more separation, more inclusion at the same time. I think the only negative that I would really say is the fact that, yeah, we got to a point where folks were having to do some nefarious bullshit to get a hat. You know, when folks were having to, resort to bots and resort to, sneaking and coming up with slick ways to get around,
Yeah.
timers and captures and shit like that, because interest had just grown so fast. But as a result, you got to the point where people started trying to act like it wasn't a matter of inclusion. They started to act like, well, I have them and you don't, so you're not a
Yeah.
part of this type of thing. And to me, that's the negative. The positive is that, yeah, there's going to be plenty of hats that I have one and you don't, or you have one and I don't. But to create that, or to make that as some type of separation of the echelon of the fitted community, I think was bullshit. And as that continued to permeate and continue to happen, things started getting super negative. A lot of hate and a lot of argument and bullshit that
Mm-hmm.
don't fucking matter. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, that doesn't make sense. You also had a lot of set tripping and
Yeah.
what I call hat banging, right? So what I mean by that is, you had folks who were kind of new to the scene or new to the community, and they just happened to be, they found out about the community based on Hat Club. And so then all of a sudden they tried to make it out to be Hat Club is better than my fitteds, or Hat Club is better than lids, and nah, lids is better. And so you got all these folks hat banging. And the reality is, these stores, these companies, these designers, as talented as they are, they're all using the same fucking hat. They're all using New Era hats. They're all using 5950s. So that argument became even more corny, because, like, you're saying this hat's better quality, even though it's the same fucking material, the same company is building it, the same manufacturer is making it. The only difference is the color and the design of of that particular logo. So I think that was that negative part. I think some of that's starting to change a little bit slowly, as things kind of simmer down to more normalcy, especially once the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic kind of faded away. Then things became a little more easy to come by. And I think also that initial fervor as it being a way to make money, I think some of
You're
that
right.
came down also. So now I think we're at a point where where things are kind
Okay.
of going back to a good
Cool.
place.
Cool. I definitely still feeling like a rookie. I mean, I had my my collector times. Then once they got onto the online thing, and I figured out how they work, and say 2019, 2020 is when I really started collecting fitteds again. And from then to now, excuse me, where from the patches, pins, mock-ups. You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing
Right,
Clink Room
right, right.
first. You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing
Mhm,
Clink Room
mhm,
first.
mhm.
I got to say that when I came around 2019, 2020, Instagram, looking at hats, seeing what's the new and the new. I remember seeing Clink Room. You know what I'm saying? I remember, you know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right,
Like this
right.
right here, and then I got the Jaguar, the light blue with the black. I got that.
Okay.
That's about
Yes,
2 years
sir.
old now. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Right, right.
and then
Yes,
like
it is.
all the
Yes,
hats
it
I
is.
see you and Paco rocking and showing, you know what I'm saying? And then me and Chevy Brims got a chance to talk with Dank and seeing how those hats, and it's like, yo, man, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
man, like it's just it was an inspiration to me. Then it's like, whoa, now you see
Absolutely.
everybody, the mock-ups, and they got some great ideas now. I ain't hating. There's some dope mock-ups out there. It's just I remember where I seen it. I remember
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
seen it. It might have been in the head, and the idea might have been in the head, But I remember seeing those who started for me, like for me, made me get into it, made me look,
Absolutely.
so yes, it has changed a lot for me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I wanted to ask you because I know you're an OG collector. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I know you probably got some of the hats with the cool thing right there in front of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
brands,
yeah,
the different
you know,
brands, yeah, different brands,
yeah,
the
you know what I
undervisors and
mean.
whatnot, the undervisors that used to be
You know
different
what I mean?
material, all
So,
of that. Oh yeah, most
and
definitely,
that's where I was
most
coming
definitely.
from asking the question. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just the fact of just being old or nothing like that. I mean, we seasoned. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's all right. I'm good with being old. You know what I'm saying? A lot of folks don't make it to being old. I'm
Exactly,
cool
man.
with
Because
being
some of
old at
I
this
know
point.
some of my good
Yeah,
buddies didn't make it to 20, didn't make it to 30, didn't make it to 40, and I'm
for
like,
real.
yo, you know what I'm saying?
That's
I'm sitting here
real, man.
42, getting ready to be
When
43.
the
You know what I
old,
mean? And
yeah,
go ahead.
when the old people tell you, when the old people tell you, bro, when they tell you like, oh, it's a blessing to see this age, or when they say, oh, it's not everybody get there. When I was younger, when I was in my teens, my 20s and shit, they would say that. I'd be like, that's
Me
fucking
too.
stupid.
Me too.
Come
Me
on, man,
too.
whatever, right? But then when you get older, when you see the difference, man, when you see the fact that there's a
Yes.
lot of people
Yes.
that that I went to school with, or that I used to kick it with, or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, that ain't in this position, or better yet, not necessarily just alive or dead, but
Right.
they ain't in a good
Right.
space. They're not in a
Right.
good place, and so I don't take that for granted anymore, dude. I do not take that happiness or that simplicity or that progress or that air of success. I don't take that shit for granted, bro. Old people, that's some old shit. But hey, not everybody gets to see it at this age. Not everybody gets to see this age at all. So it's always important to
Man,
give
you
thanks
ain't
for that.
jiving, man. That's straight up. You know what I mean? Plus, kids growing up and they, like my daughter, she's 22 now. So, it's like, but I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see the difference. Sometimes I be fussing at her, but it's like, I stop and I see the difference in how my 22 ain't her 22. You know what I'm saying? Just like our
absolutely,
43 and
absolutely,
42 ain't our mamas and daddies 42, 43, because their time period ran a little different. You know what I'm saying? And then when our
absolutely,
kids get to that
absolutely.
moment, they 42, 43 gonna be even more different. You know what I'm saying? See, in fact, who knows? Hell, they
Absolutely.
might
Absolutely.
stop putting water in faucets. We gotta start buying water just period. You know what I'm saying? So
See,
it's
see,
crazy, man.
see.
And that takes me to the album. Let's get into the album, man. An audience of one. An audience of
Yes, sir.
one.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so where did you get the inspiration from? Like, where did the audience of one? Like, what was? Give me as much as you want to give me, because y'all gotta listen to the music to get the rest of the answers. You gotta listen to the
Yeah,
music. But I would
yeah,
like to
yeah.
know, where did you get that
Right.
inspiration? What inspired that audience of one title from you?
The title itself legitimately is very much similar to what we talked about a little bit earlier. It is kind of looking at yourself and saying, hey, I gotta approach what I'm trying to do, and I gotta be righteous about how I approach it, right? But I'll say, and I think this resonates with most artists, most of the people that I've ever had the
Mhm.
conversation with about that album, about the title, about how I came about. I say all the time that as artists, and this is
Mhm.
something I'm learning, not for nothing, even now as
You
an
heard
older
it up.
seasoned artist. I'm learning, and I see, people who are really successful in music who kind of echoed a very, echoed something it took me a while to get to. So a lot of the time we're doing music, we're doing projects, whether it's a podcast, whether it's an album, whatever the case may be, we're doing it with the idea that other people have to get on board, and we're doing it with the idea that when I do this and I release this, people have to get on board. Well, the other thing that we don't always admit is we're actually doing it also to suggest that if people don't get on board, then it's a failure. And so what I kept thinking about, because I do a lot of projects, a lot of music, different groups, things like that, what I kept thinking about was, it became harder for me to do solo albums over the last few years because often I'm so focused on what other people will think of it or what
Mhm.
I believe other people will think of it. And so a lot of the time that has stopped me from doing, different projects or doing different things because I would talk myself out of it. I would basically say, well, nah, nobody's going to listen to this shit. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody wants to hear this shit, you know? And that self-doubt would basically kill projects, you know? And so when I was going into this project, it took me a little longer to actually record it. I wrote it probably across a couple of weeks, but I just wouldn't record it. And I kept kind of going through that self-doubt of, you know, nobody give a shit. Why am I wasting my hours, you know, recording this and mixing it and wasting my people's album, you know, time and getting beats and this and that and all the efforts that you go through to create an album. And I don't know what it was, but one day I kind of did very similar to the post that you mentioned, that I looked at myself and I said, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and I talk like this. I mean, I consider myself to be fairly intellectual, but at the end of the day, I curse a lot because it's honest. And that's how I talk to myself in most cases. But I ask myself, what the fuck are you doing? At the end of the day, I'm the only audience that matters, right? Because I'm the person who's creating it. It is the product of my thoughts, of my imagination. And it doesn't fucking matter who doesn't like it or likes it or doesn't listen or whatever. And as a result, I thought, you know, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of embark, at least from a solo standpoint, of demonstrating that, of saying to people that, you know, this is what I'm doing. This is what I wanted to put forth. I hope you fuck with it. But even if you don't, the reality of the audience is really me. And so that's where an audience of one, because I am the only audience that really matters. And that there was a song that I actually cut from the album because it didn't flow with the theme and flow with the vibe, right? Where I actually said that I'm the only audience that fucking matters. But so yeah, that's where it came from. I have since then, you know, since that album was released, I've seen a number of legendary artists kind of say, yeah, you're not doing albums for everybody else. You're not doing music for, you know, this potential demographic or some shit like that.
True.
At the end of the day, you're doing it for you. And as and as an artist, when you accept that and you recognize that, you're invincible against everyone else or everything else because you're doing what you decided you wanted to do. So yeah.
Okay. And that's a great answer too, man. You really answered something for me then, and then you said something that kind of sparked in my head, and I was like, okay, all right. Now, some of the tracks on there, you know what I'm saying, I went and listened, you know what I mean, because on your link tree, you got a sample. It's a thing on there where you can sample, and it'll give you like a minute 20 of a song, two minutes per song. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to hear the whole thing, go to the Spotify, go to the Apple, go to that music, get on there. You know what I'm saying? But I wrote down a title or two, man, and in just a few words, I just like to know what was on your mind when you wrote the track, or how you was feeling, or just so a song like my two favorites so far, just off the first listen, was Double Down and Future Past. Double Down and Future Past, I really like how them beats, you know what I'm saying? It's like the style, it's a whole style. This album's got like a style to it, like, you know what I'm saying, that I can't put my finger on yet, because I hear it's the certain type of classic type of, it's like you give a feel. It's like a feel. You know what I'm saying? You remind me of other, not, you know what I'm saying? You got your own style, but I'm saying, you know how someone can be like, yo, man, I got that most Def feel. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that most Def feel. Not saying you not that, it's just, I get that boom, 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 bam, boom, boom, that Black Star, bow, bow. You know what I'm saying? You give me that feel, and I love it because you get straight to the point with your music. You know what I mean? A song like Diamond Pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like what was something that made you write that track?
Diamond Pressure is actually that's an easy one, because really it is, you know, in the title, everybody's afraid of pressure, right? Everybody says they want to be something. Everybody says they want to be successful. They want to be positive, whatever. But, you know, as the saying goes, pressure makes diamonds. I know there are other people saying pressure bust pipes, but who gives a fuck about that, right? Pressure makes diamonds. But the reason why pressure makes diamonds is the diamond doesn't get because it gets perfect pressure, right? The diamond goes, oh, you know what, that's too hard, I'm out, I quit. Right? And that's the point. Is, you know, with diamond pressure, it was like you deal with pressure, and if you're that kind of guy, you're gonna harden up, you're gonna go through it, you're gonna get through it, and the results are diamond. So yeah, that diamond pressure. That's the whole reason,
Okay,
that
I
word
can
crop so
understand
quickly.
that. Now, what about double down? Cause double down sounds like you have some fun behind the mic. Like what double down was that more of a represent your people's track, or is that like a okay, okay,
Absolutely,
okay,
absolutely, it was. I think it goes back to something you said earlier in the show,
yes
about
sir,
being too modest sometimes. And I'm guilty as shit about that because again, I have so many different projects and things that I've, been involved with or done with, and in some cases don't actually have my name on them. Or unless you go in and listen to it and you go, hey, that dude sounds familiar, that type of thing. And so it was a matter of, yeah, I want to be able to shout out the work that we do, but also the work that
yes,
I do. And so, without trying to be like cocky or some shit, but at the same time to be able to say, you know what, these are my people, and I double down on that shit. I do what I do, and I double down on that. And that's really where even again, that's where kind of the title came from was yeah, like you said, shouting out everything, shouting out the people, shouting out
yeah,
how things are.
that was
So yeah, double down. And it's funny. I do want to shout out my man Mitchell Valdez, who did the production on this entire album. He's done a couple. He and I have done a few albums before that. But Double Down is one of his favorite songs on the album himself, largely for the same,
yeah,
the
man.
same vibe and
It
same
sound like
flavor.
y'all had.
So
It sound
yeah,
like you had fun on the track, man. You know what I mean? You
good
know what I mean? You gave,
times, good
you know what
times.
I'm
Yes
saying?
sir, yes sir.
What about you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask you two more, and then we're gonna get on. What about
Okay.
Nobody Never? That sound like that track right there sound like a deep one right there, man. You might have took some time writing that one.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't very. It wasn't difficult to write. It really is just a matter of thoughts. And it's kind of again, we're always as creatives, especially, we're always fighting those negative demons, those self-negative demons. I know any musician that I know of, any rapper, any artist, any designer, any host, any writer, anything, right? You're always at war with
Yes, sir.
your self-doubt, with your feelings that you're not good enough, or with feeling like you can't be good enough. And nobody never is really. It's obviously a situation
Right.
where you don't want anybody to
Right.
believe that you can't, and in some cases, you really don't want yourself to believe that you can't. And so, no matter what, you've got opportunities, you've got options, you've got ways to do it. And so that's kind of the onus of where that came from. It's that nobody never is going to break you. Nobody never will put you in a position like that. Or more importantly, there's no way that you should feel that you're defeated without
Yes, sir.
basically falling on your
Okay.
sword. So
Okay. Well, that's a good way to explain it too. Because there's a particular sample in there that catch my attention. As soon as I heard it, you know what I'm saying, it kind of take me back to church. And then you throw the words in
heard
there
that.
with
I
it.
heard
You know,
that.
you throw the rhymes in there with it to the point where you can just close your eyes and just listen. You know, it's like you got it. Like straight up, man.
Absolutely.
And I ain't blowing smoke. That album right there is a close your eyes and listen album. If you really love music and really interested in music, listen to that. You know what I'm saying? Yes,
I appreciate
hey,
that because that was the vibe. That
okay,
was the vibe we were going for. Really, like that's what I wanted. I wanted to be something that was a little more mature, a little more adult. I wanted to be almost, I won't say a contrast to the BP Mercenary, because the BP Mercenary stuff we do is really, it's more
yeah,
lighthearted, it's more fun, it's more imaginative. It's cartoons, it's comic books, it's that whole larger than life, not reality,
okay,
separate yourself from reality vibe. And with this album more specifically than probably a lot of most of my solo albums in that way, I wanted it to be more realistic in that, yeah, you could literally just sit
just,
there, close your eyes. If you smoke a blunt,
mm-hmm,
you a blunt smoker, and smoke one, and just
just,
sit there, and you in the mix and you in the vibe of it, and you kind of understand the approach, and you understand what's going on, and you can relate. And I like to believe that I make relatable music in that no matter what, whether no matter where you are, whether in here in the States, whether you're across the seas, whether you're in a struggle, whether you married, you salute, you single, whatever it is, you're going to be able to relate to what I'm saying. You're going to be able to relate to a song or two or three or four or things within those songs. Because, again, I feel like I write from a place
yes,
of,
sir.
standard reality. I'm not writing
Mm-hmm.
cartoons and shit. I'm not writing, glorified black
Got you.
exploitation or no shit like that. I'm writing the things that I've experienced, the things that I've gone through or dealt with that I feel like, relate to a lot of people. And so when I hear people say just that, like, I'm able to sit here and just vibe out and kind of think about life type of thing, then it definitely warms my heart because that's the approach
Okay.
that I
And
try to take.
also, last question on the album.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Song number 1 is Reflection. Song number 12 is
Yes, sir.
Deflection. I caught that. I caught that.
Yes, sir.
So it's like, okay, well, I ain't asking about the songs. I'm asking about the message. So basically, is there a message? If they listening, now, if they listening and hearing from reflection to deflection, what is the message? Without giving away nothing, what's the message that you put out there as far as the album coming straight from the heart? You know what I mean? Like because I see that reflection, that deflection. It's a word that's called something. I just can't think of it, but it's a word that's called something because you're giving this point reflection, and now it's like the mirror, reflection. Now, boom, what's coming out for it? The deflect. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what was your idea for putting your tracks together the way you did to put that message out for the people that really listen? Blaze, bro.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna tell you, going back to the whole, the point of the title,
Yes, sir.
an audience of one. In order to get to that point, in order to get to the point where you accept that, this is what I'm putting forth, and this is what I am, this is what and defiantly saying, okay, this is what I'm doing. You have to reflect on what you've done. You have to go, you have to look back at, not necessarily back, sometimes just look at, what you've done, what you've tried to accomplish, try to be honest with yourself. We all
Yes,
reference
sir.
look in the mirror, right? And it's always more difficult for people to look in the mirror and say, okay, you know what, I caused this, or I was the reason this happened. With relationships, with friendships, with jobs, with money management, whatever it is. A lot of the time, we'll point fingers at everything else. We'll be like, oh, you know what? If that sale wasn't there, I wouldn't have bought it. Or, if she hadn't did this, then I wouldn't have did that. Or, if they didn't do this, or if my job, But again, true building, true improvement, true evolution, change. Otherwise, all of it starts with reflection, right? It all starts with looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, these are things that I could have done better, or these are things that I didn't do, or these are things that I caused, or problems that I caused. So the album, An Audience of One, the last song, the deflection part of it is, once you gather that information, you've addressed yourself. You've tried to make changes in the things that you felt were necessary, or the things that you wanted to do different or better, or very
Yes,
much
sir.
like we talked about at the top of the hour. When you see those things, how do you approach changing them? How do you approach making it different? Because it's one thing for me to say, oh, I failed. It's one thing for me to say I didn't succeed. It's one thing for me to say, well, I wanted 100 views this day, but instead I only got 5. It's easy for me to say that, but how do I make that change going forward? Because if I'm not making a change, or if I'm not taking effort, or if I'm not efforting my way to do better or get better,
Yes,
then I'm just
sir.
complaining to complain. And I don't want to be a complainer to complain. I want to get better. I want to move forward. I want to evolve. I want to change. I want to be something different than I was when I first started to reflect. So the reflection is, what is this? What has these things? And what has happened? What happened? What can I do different? What can I do better? And then that, the 9 songs in between that are really just kind of telling you that, like, here's how you have to get better. Here's how you have to get stronger, faster, more resilient. Here's how you have to work harder, be more dedicated, more disciplined. And then finally, that deflection isn't you saying, I don't believe it. It's going back out and using what you reflected on, to go forward and improve.
Yes, sir.
So yeah.
Thank you for that. I seen that message. I seen that, and I was like, that's something right there that people will miss. You know what I'm saying? They'll miss it. You know what I mean? Because I was looking. Because I'm big on following directions and reading and looking at the little bitty words and things like that and trying to see a message. And so it's just that when I caught
Right.
that, reflection. And I'm listening. I'm like, oh man, he's spitting on this one. Oh man, he's spitting on that. Ooh, that beat. I got to say that. I'll put that in my playlist. I'm gonna share it in my story. Then I seen deflection. It was like the album was, it got more serious towards the end of the album. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so if
Right.
you was rocking and rocking once you get to song 9, 10, 11, you're gonna be like, damn, I know what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about right there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And so That's why I for sure give you all the props. Like that's an album right there that I definitely let people know about. My partner Espo asked, "What's the
I
album?"
appreciate
It's
that.
called An Audience of One. Blaze Rock. Go to all the medias. It's on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Go to all the medias.
anywhere,
It's
anywhere,
on
yeah,
there. And check out
any
those
digital outlet.
tracks. Preferably, I'm gonna give you some track number 4, track number 5, and what's my other one? And track number 10. Y'all check them out. Them some of my favorite tracks on
There
there.
you go.
Future Past. Future Past. I gotta call it out.
There you
Track
go.
number 3 was Double
Yes,
Down.
sir.
Track number 4 was Future Past. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big X-Men fan, so when I seen Future Past, I said, I just got to see what he talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Hey, there we go. There we
And track
go.
number 10
There
is
we go.
Nobody Never. You
There
know what
we
I'm
go.
saying? Y'all check those out. Audience of One on Spotify, Blaze Rock. Check it out. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
sir.
what's your process like now in the studio, man? You know what I'm saying? Are you like, what's your process? Are you have fun? Are you like that are you like Ghostface? You gotta write your stuff at the crib and not be bothered, then come to the studio? Like, what's your
Well, it's a little different. I mean, it's a little different for me because I do everything pretty much here in
gotcha?
my own studio called the
Okay.
Spark. I get a bunch. Obviously I get most of my production from other producers. Like, Paco, not obviously somebody I collaborate with on a regular basis. Lost Perception's another one. RTC Shogun, Mitchell Valdez, like I just mentioned, that I've done a few albums with. Stevie Thunder's another one. So I have a lot of different producers and stuff here, that I work with fairly often. They trust me enough to shoot me the beats and let me do what I do. Because again, a lot of it, I would say 99.9% of it, happens here, in my own studio
Okay.
here at the house called the Spark. My process is pretty straightforward. I mean, I'm not one of those dudes. I gotta have a certain color of M&Ms, a certain type of tea. The chemistry, the temperature got to be a certain thing. The lights got. I'm not that dude. I'll write songs, get it down, get ready wherever I'm at in the road. On the road, driving down the road, or I'm with my wife or something, and I'm sitting there on my phone typing out a song or something like that. I'm really easy about it. I'll create anywhere. I don't care. It don't matter. But my process, at least right now, really is it's fairly straightforward. I have ideas, and I want to put an idea down, and I start gathering up the ways to get that idea done, and I get to it. Have a
Yeah.
couple of bottles of
Yes.
water in that mug, and I'm a very straightforward, easy artist. Even when I record other places, I don't need nothing. You know what I'm saying? Hey, dudes be like, hey, you want this, you want that, you need this. I'm like, no. You just tell me what you need, and I'm on it. I'm gonna make it happen. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm real easy with
Okay. I
that,
always
bro.
had to ask. 'Cause I know everybody have a different process. Everybody got a different. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah, totally.
So uh, something I never really got a chance to ask you. Do you have a favorite hat in your collection, man? Do you have a favorite?
Hey, okay, so I'm gonna sound like I'm gonna sound like a homer. I don't give a shit. My favorite, my legit favorite hat, is probably our first BP Mercenaries hat, the one
Okay.
with the crows, the gorilla crows. That's my favorite hat. Period. I mean, obviously because there's a level of sentimentality there. It's my shit. It's our first
Mm-hmm.
time hitting the clink. It's a phenomenal fucking design. The shit just looks dope as shit to me. Like when I first saw there were 3 or 4 mock-ups that
Mm-hmm.
were provided to us, that Casey showed us. And that one in particular that ended up being the original hat is the one that I was like, yo, that
That's the
shit's
fire.
bonkers. I was going nuts, right? I was going crazy. So yeah, that's my favorite hat. And I'm not ashamed to say that, just because again, the design I think is dope. The colorway is dope. The fact that we were able to use that chrome sort of silver situation on the brim, it's still like, yeah, like it's you can't tell me shit else. I think secondly, and again, it's all
Right. Right.
sentimentality, right? It's all being sentimental. I think my second one is probably the Clink special edition joint that I just got. It's a
Saw
navy
that.
blue with a
I
gold
saw
clink.
that.
Because man, shit like that means something to me. I know a lot of people, you know, it's just a thing and it's no big deal and they just kind of move on or whatever. But anytime somebody takes time out of their day or takes time out of them, you know, takes money out of their own pocket or whatever the case may be, and wants to show me love for something or show appreciation to me, that hits me. That means something deep to me. So that's why I think, you know, that one's probably way up there just for, you know, again, for sentimentality. But if I have to call something outside of my own people, I have a Black Panther hat that was just released. I have a couple of them, but one of them was just released on New Era. It has the most intricate pattern of black and purple across the crown with the dope Black Panther that right now that's probably my favorite non-BP Mercenaries, non-related hat. Because when I pulled that motherfucker out the box and out the plastic, I was just blown away at some of the details and things like that. And, you know, again, it also dovetails with the fact that, you know, Chad just passed. The movie had just came out, the new movie that just came out, which I absolutely loved it. And so all of those pieces kind of combined to, so yeah, right now that's probably my favorite non-BP, non-Blaze Rock. You know,
now, do you have? I know what collection. If I'm mistaken, wasn't it 3 particular hats in that collection?
It's 3. There was one snapback. I don't buy snapbacks, so I don't have that. But there's a second one in that. There's a second fitted in there. I do have that one. And then there's a third that Style.ca did a couple of like a year or two ago. That is actually it's basically just a Boston Red Sox hat, but it's black with the purple, and it's all of the right hues, all the right colors, all the right hit points, and it came with a little little style pin, of course. But it was right. I want to say it was right when Chad had passed, or a couple of weeks or a couple months after, or something like that. So that one isn't necessarily related because it's just what they did. But for me, at least, that's my little fitted triumvirate of Black Panther stuff.
Cool. All right. And you know what I'm saying? I might want to ask this one too. I know you click room heavy, but give me 3 of your top logos that you like to have on your hats.
Oh, that goes without saying. Look, the Diamondbacks City Connect is that S-shaped hat right there. That bar none. Look, I won't even fuck around and bullshit you. That is for me at least probably the best logo, my favorite logo over the past 2 years. Period. Like, and I got a lot of shit, but that hat that fit because I'm a homer.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna pump fake. I'm a homer. I have tons of Diamondback hats. I love the A. I love the typical forward facing snake. But that right there, that City Connect, they killed that shit. Oh my God. And what's crazy is any colorway you put it on, any crown, everything, it still looks phenomenal. So that's my number 1. That hat right there. You pull one of those out, I'm probably gonna buy it. You know what I'm saying? My number two is you know, I mean, I guess you call it throwback.
Oh man.
But it's the Montreal Expos, right? To me, the Expos design, that logo is the most classic. Like every year, no matter what, that stays in my top 3. Whether it's a 1A, whether it's a 1B, whether it's a 2A, 2B, whether it's 3, whatever. The Montreal Expos hats are always going to be there. I think my third, which is probably a good tie with a couple others, but my third is definitely the Coke Tiger. But you can't go wrong with that design. It's so classic and it's old school, but it looks like it fits in the right now. It can be customized, colorway. Because I have a couple where like the top half of him is a certain color and the bottom half is a different color. You have some where they swap out the color of the bat. They might switch out his hat. They might bug out his eyes a little bit. All these different ways that it's been done and that it gets done, and it just looks clean on almost every colorway. I can only think maybe 1 or 2 at tops that it just wasn't just a complete bomb all the way out. If I add one more, I'm gonna add one more. It's probably my 3A, and it is just because it isn't even that it's such a fancy design. It's the Tampa Bay Smokers, bro. It's such an unusual hat. it harkens back to, again, the South and tobacco and, kind of old school 60s, 70s type of, smoking and cigar ads and things like that. Everything about that hat. I go out my way to try to get them. The problem is
Yeah.
everybody else does too. So there's a few colorways that I don't have, but I'm always kind of plotting on them anytime I see them. So yeah, that would be my
Okay.
3+1, of things that are
Okay.
not my own.
I'm gonna ask you.
Not
I'm gonna ask you a few more, man. Just because I never had a
all
chance
right.
to
I got
ask you. So
you. I got you.
what's three what's
Yes, sir. Yes,
either
sir.
2 or 3 of your favorite places to shop for hats besides Click Room?
I'm simple. Yeah, I'm simple. Look, I'm simple.
Okay.
I like lids a lot. I mean, and I like Hat Club a lot. Now, for me with Hat Club, here in Arizona,
Okay.
Hat Club started here first of all, right? I used to go to school at ASU, and Hat Club for years was right there, right by ASU. It's on Mill. It was on Mill. And then of course all the other stores around the city. I've been to millions of times. I remember times getting 10, 15 hats on clearance at the Hat Club that used
Mhm.
to be in Fiesta Mall. My point in saying that is Hat Club has always kind of been my go-to because it was the place that I could almost always go to, in any of the malls here in Arizona. Lids was kind of the same thing because it's easy to access it. It's easy to get there. There's a Lids everywhere in every
Yeah.
mall in every city practically.
Yes.
And it's been that way for a long time. So even if you're not if you're not a new guy, then you kind of know there aren't that many. But the other thing is I live in Arizona, right? So I have to say that those two are my favorite go-tos. I live in Arizona. We don't have very many other shops other than Just Sports. And Just Sports has kind of improved their drops, both their customs and their general stock. They've improved that significantly over the last few years. So they're always another place that I like to frequent. And also because Just Sports doesn't
Right.
exactly exist everywhere. So you're not seeing the same type of things. It's kind of limited. If I were to expand, my purchasing or whatever to online, to say as far as my favorite spots, Hat Heaven is still one of my spots. I know a lot of people don't
I
give
love.
them the credit they deserve, but they're always consistently
Yes.
dropping fire
Yes.
at all
Yes.
times and low key. And I appreciate the low key. You know what I'm saying? I love them, and I know a lot of people. Like I said, a lot
Made
of
the
people
home.
don't really give them the credit they deserve. And I think that you can always get it like you get it.
That's
I'm gonna give
cool.
one more. I know you only said a couple, but I'm gonna give one more. Crown Minded
Mm.
is my other one. Crown Minded is so dope, so dope. They do a lot of really dope colorways. They've collaborated with a lot of really dope designers over the last year or two or whatever. Their primary physical brick and mortar store is in LA. I had the pleasure of showing up there one time, buying a couple of hats while I was there. Great experience. It's a crazy store. The store is just amazing. It looks amazing. The way everything's set up, and they always have such unique designs and swapping them out. So yeah, those are my those are
Okay.
my those are
Cool.
my go-tos all the time.
Who are your top 3 teams, man, in sports? Whether football, basketball, baseball, just who are 3 teams, maybe 2 or 3 teams that you just always have rock with, whether it's a hat, shirt, or watch them play on the tube, or go to the game live. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your 3 teams? Any sport.
Um, I'm a Diamondbacks guy, of course, because again, I'm here in Arizona, and for a really, really, really long time, Arizona didn't have a Major League Baseball team. I didn't want to be the guy who was because everybody here is a Dodgers fan or a Padres fan or some of the
Hmm.
teams around us. And a lot of that is from the fact that there wasn't an Arizona team for a really, really long time. Once they came here, I was like, all right, I'm gonna rock with y'all. You're trash. You're not winning most of the time. Like right now, they're not really winning. But I rock with them. I rock with them pretty tough. And I keep pointing out that I'm kind of a homer. I'm a Cardinals fan very much for the same reason. The majority of my childhood, we didn't
Hmm.
have an NFL team. We had the arena football, we had the Rattlers, and we had that type of shit. And when the Cardinals came, I just kind of said, okay, this is what I'm gonna rock with. They've made it difficult because they're often trash. But that's the team I rock with. Coincidentally, I'm gonna say even both of those teams, I have a ton of
Okay.
hats for both of them. Because the good part is that while they may not play all that well, the designs are incredibly dope. Um, and I think from there, I don't really have a specific basketball team that I rock with like that. I just like particular players when it comes to basketball. I like watching basketball. I just don't really have a basketball team. But I will say the only other team that I really do get down like that with is Florida State University. Yeah, I was raised that way. My dad was from Tallahassee, and he was always, it was kind of ingrained in me from that point.
So some South in you. You got some South in you a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool right there. I like Florida. I'm a Florida Gator, so we'll definitely be bumping heads.
Yeah, a lot of my family are Florida Gator fans, and when that inevitable clash of
I know it is.
Yes, sir.
Now,
yes, sir.
here go one for you that's different. What's 2 or 3 of your favorite hood movies, man? You know what I mean? I ain't never had a chance to ask you that. Like, you know what I mean?
Man. Okay. I know everybody likes to stick with the West Coast when they say this, right? But for me, one of them is Juice. Juice is a trip because it's hard to even call it a hood movie because it's such a psychological thriller almost. It's like, it's a little different than just a regular ass hood movie, right? So that's Juice. Juice is my definite number one. It's always gonna be my number one. All right, number 2, and other people might not call it a hood movie, but I do.
Man.
Training Day. Okay. Because first of all, the whole fucking movie takes place basically in the hood. 1. Number 2, everything that matters that sets the stage for the movie in general is in the hood. So Training Day is my number 2. My third one is actually for a different reason. My third one is Business Society, but it's all. But I'm gonna say why. It's all because throughout that movie, you cannot help but say, "What the fuck is this dude thinking?" Right? You're constantly going through steps and things that are happening. Like, why? What? And again, microcosm of the hood shit that we see. Because you know yourself when you hear about crazy shit happening in the hood, you be like, why? Like, what was he thinking? That kind of thing. That's why I meant it, because you can go throughout this movie, act by act, moment by moment, scene by scene, and there's a point where you're going, why?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah.
Hey, man, that's good. Hey, I agree with everything you saying right there. You are telling the truth. All right, Blaze Rock, man, who are 1 or 2 or 3 of your favorite groups in hip hop or in music, period?
All right, groups.
Whatever you
or can I
want to. I had both of them. I had MCs and groups. Right. So if you want to put it together and 2 birds, 1 stone, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna throw them together. But I'm gonna stay in the numbers that you said. So 1, like I mentioned earlier, Wu-Tang Clan, big influence on everything that I've done. Just the creativity, the idea, the way the individual members of the groups were so much different than just the group itself. It wasn't like you got a Wu-Tang album and then every solo album you pretty much knew, oh, it's going to be the same shit, the same way, same. It never was that way. When you look at Only Built for Cleveland Links, you look at Iron Man, then you look at Liquid Swords, then you look at Judgment Day, all of those being and also Return to 36 Chambers from ODB. When you look at those and you compare that to the original 36 Chambers album, or you compare that to Wu Forever, and then you keep going down going through that tree of the different projects and different, side projects like Grave Diggers, etc. Wu-Tang for me is, bar none, because the level of creativity to be able to do that and still have it resonate back to the same fan base and everything. Mm-hmm. I think that's just incredible. Number 2, by far. I go on record with this every time anybody ever asks me anything about hip hop. Ice Cube is a big influence for me as far as wanting to be a rapper, as far as rapping, as far as how I approach what I say and and how I say it, inflection, being willing to touch on topics that aren't always comfortable. That's something that, a lot of people don't necessarily give Cube the credit that he deserves for being just that, being willing to say those things and talk about the things that we don't always want to admit or that, isn't easy to swallow or digest. And so being able to do that takes a lot of artistic integrity. And just as an MC though, like Ice Cube is the shit, bro. Ice Cube still, even to this day, on the Mount Westmore album, whatever, still spitting fire. And he's so unique in that no matter what, there's nobody else that has ever sounded like Ice Cube. There's nobody else that Ice Cube sounds like.
Yep.
Ice Cube is Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? My third is going to actually be a two-part tie type of thing. It's actually Big and Jay. Because one, I mean, Jay is Jay. Let's be real. At the end of the day, the dude is a lyrical fucking monster, right? I don't get into that dumb shit about goats this and goats that or whatever. I think that's foolishness. What I say is, this is probably one of the best MCs we will ever see, or ever hear. I mean, and the versatility and his ability and the things that he's able to do as an MC. I think the only person who really rivaled that in that same classic sense would be Big, because they did very, very complementary type of styles and type of material, even though it was cut really short. I'm going to do a quick 4 and 5. They are very, 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 very quick. I think that, a lot of people don't give the credit necessary, but E40 is another big influence for me that I really love. Again, back to the same kind of thing of, uniqueness, the willingness to do the things that other people don't, and do it the way he does it. Plus his work ethic is such an inspiration to me, because I always looked at it as, if your job is to be an MC, then your job is to put out music. And you shouldn't be fucking around putting out, here and there. You want to keep feeding the people the way you're supposed to feed the people. And I think, my final one that I'll call out is Andre 3000. And it's really for the same type of thing, because Andre has always been such a unique MC. Fuck the fact that the dude is just incomparable lyrically, right? Just slide that to the side, but the dude has always been so unique. Even the joint him and Big Boy did on the New Jersey Drive soundtrack, there's something about the way, again, when AT Aliens dropped, everybody lost their fucking minds. Then when Stankonia dropped and Bombs Over Baghdad came out, everybody lost their fucking minds. Then when Hey Ya dropped and that Speaker Box Love Below album dropped, everybody lost their minds. But again, it's the reason we're always clamoring for a new Andre 3000 verse. Like, we're at a point now, we don't even need an album, just drop a verse, and we go bonkers, bro. I love it. So yeah, those are my biggest influences, and they happen to be, of course, also some of my favorite artists and groups in general.
I definitely wanted to know that, because I never had a chance to ask you that. You know what I mean? And plus, you always working. When you're working on your music, you really don't have time to, go back. You know what I mean? Because your mind be in a.
No, man. I'm different, because when I'm doing an album, I'm listening to everything. I'm listening to everything. Not that, and I know a lot of people want to channel and they want to focus, and I don't want to influence. At the end of the day, we already influenced by these artists, right? Because like, if I'm writing an album, if I'm saying, so let's say a month period of time is my open and close for starting and finishing that album, I'm not gonna not listen to music during that period of time, number one. But number two, it's not like I haven't been listening to music all this time up to that point, right? So whatever influences, whatever interest, whatever vibe, whatever, I need that. I want to keep moving and keep, adjusting, because anybody that tells you that writing an album is a linear process is lying, or they don't do it well, right? Because you're not going, I'm going to write this song, and you just keep going 1, 2, 3, repeat 1, 2. That's not how it works, dude. You're all over the place in some cases, right? I can't think of an album, or at least for me, maybe other people do. For me, I can't think of a period of time where I ever just went straight through, like, okay, I'm gonna do this album, this song, then this song, this thing, and just went through the plan. Now, I might have had a plan to say, okay, I'm gonna do these songs, but I know plenty of times where I'd start, and then we're gonna get rid of this, and we're gonna bring this in, and we're gonna make changes, and it's a nasty looking diagram, but it definitely ain't linear. And the fact that it is so, so unique, so weird, so different, or whatever, that goes back to the same point. Like, I don't want to only be listening to my shit, because, to be honest, I'm going to be frustrated. Or, there's a period of time where something isn't laying right. There's verses sometimes your tongue ain't working the way it's supposed to, or your mouth, or you wrote it wrong, or you have to keep going back and kind of editing, changing, making, or mixing even. When you're mixing, you're going back over and over and over. After a while, you're like, I don't want to hear my own shit. I need to hear something else. So, in those cases, I just throwing me on some Beyonce, and True.
I feel that right there. I'm glad you explained it like that too, because basically what you're saying is You have to open your mind up if you want to. You have to open your mind up. You can't just be stuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you want that flow. You want that flow of energy. You want that thought pattern, that creativity. Because it's not to say that you're gonna jack somebody's line or jack somebody's style, but it's just that sometimes that idea or that vibe or that moment
True.
sparks something else in your head. Or even like from a delivery standpoint, as an artist, you hear a particular artist use a certain cadence. Or maybe like another artist that I'm really into and I love, and he probably would
Yeah.
have made this list, if it were
Oh
longer,
man.
is Royce the 5'9".
Mm,
Royce's
mm,
structure of
mm,
his verses, right? So typically we're all used to verse, rhyme on the snare,
mm,
verse, rhyme on the snare,
mm,
verse, rhyme on the snare. Well, a lot of time Royce will wrap that son bitch in there, and it'll be rhymes within rhymes, it'll be interspersed, multi-syllable stuff that when you hear that as a writer, you like, yo, okay, how can I could do something like, okay, so maybe I had this line. What if I roll this way and make some changes and add this or change the way I deliver it? So I think if you're listening to only yourself during the process of creating, you may be missing out. I won't say it's bad. You just may be
mm.
missing
Okay.
out. It might be a little easier
True.
that way.
That's you know what I like the way you explain that, man. You know what I'm saying? That's dope. That's dope how you
Hell
explain that.
yeah.
I'm on I got two more questions to ask you, but I got the little, I always have my little bonus round at the end. And so we was already picking a
Okay.
few things. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Then I'm gonna ask you
For
the
sure.
last two big questions because I don't want to end it just like that. So let's jump on into it right quick. Y'all know the bonus
For sure.
round for the people that's watching now, watch later. You can always play along.
Let's go.
So studio or stage, which one do you prefer? Studio.
Studio.
Okay. Are
Studio.
you more of an audio person or are you more of a podcast person?
I do both. I like both. So it's hard for me to do. It's
Oh,
hard for me to say one or the other. I do prefer. I like the multi-medium of being
okay.
able to do video and audio,
Okay.
and I like being able to break them out and use them in those
Okay.
different,
Okay.
different outlets.
Uh, when it comes to the undervisor, are you more of a multicolor person or are you color green?
That's tough. That's tough. I like the multicolor. Look,
No.
I like the multicolor because sometimes, look, as a style from a style standpoint, sometimes you'll pop that undervisor with like a stripe or some shit on your shoes, or like for example, you got a hat that's a certain color. You match the primary of your
Mm-hmm.
crown with your shirt. You match the undervisor with maybe your, like I said, with your kicks or your shorts or something or your socks. Man, having a color undervisor just gives you some different design
Okay.
choices. So I'm
Okay.
gonna go with color.
Are you more of a patch person or no patch person? Okay.
I prefer no
Okay.
patch. Prefer
Uh,
no patch. Yeah.
are you more of a, and I ask you this just because of being outside in the heat. I know you be on softball. I know you like to go places. Are you more of a bucket head person or just a visor person?
Ooh, if I'm doing that, if I'm not doing an actual hat, an actual cap, if I'm gonna say that, I'm probably
Bucket
gonna
head.
be a
Yeah.
bucket. I'm a bucket. Look, I was gonna say if it was 95, yeah, I had a visor. I
Me
had that
too.
motherfucker upside down. I had it all over all the goofy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. But here right now in 23, and run me a
I love
bucket, my
them.
bro. Run me a
My
bucket.
only
I'm
problem
out.
with the
Yeah.
bucket is finding the
Yes,
right
sir.
size.
Yes, dude. Because man, like I know for me, if I grow my hair out a little bit, because I got thick curly hair, I grow my hair out. All of a sudden, the bucket be all half and don't want to pull down because I need my shit to sit
Yeah.
like right there. So I'm like, yeah, yeah. But you grow your hair out a little bit, it gets all wonky, or the sizing might be weird. So yeah, I'm
Okay.
with you. I'm with you on that one.
Now, okay, we already know we know you love hats, but if you had to pick between an NBA
Mm-hmm.
hat or NFL hat, which one would it be? Okay.
I'm gonna go with NFL. NFL logos fit to me. NFL logos work better for hats, and I think it's primarily because we're used to seeing the logos on their helmets, and ultimately all you're doing is turning that son bitch sideways. With NBA hats, I mean with NBA logos, a lot of times they're built for the tank top. They're for the jersey, jersey with no sleeves. They're built for the shorts. They're built for different types of things, and they just don't to me hit the same on a
Okay,
on
okay.
a medium like a
And
cat.
then that's a good way to segue into this one. Are you more of a baseball jersey person or a football jersey person?
I'm gonna go with football jerseys because they work a little better with practically anything that you want to wear with them. When I was younger, I used to wear a lot of football jerseys. Now I don't really wear
Yeah,
jerseys that often, other
yeah,
than
true.
shit that I'm playing on the field. But if I had a choice, right? If I had a choice, I got an outfit. This is what, yeah, you got to wear a baseball jersey or a football jersey. I'm
Okay.
probably going with a football
No
jersey.
buttons.
No buttons,
Yeah, okay, okay. Oh,
no buttons.
okay. Take it back old school for a second. You more of a CD? Were
All
you
right.
more of a CD person, or were you more of a cassette person?
Oh no,
CD.
my CD all day. I don't give a fuck neither, because everybody be looking at me like, "What you mean?" Look, bro, there's a matter of convenience. And if you've ever had to run with tapes and you had to run it back and you keep
Yep.
trying to hit the right spot, fuck all that, bro. Once they drop the idea of a CD in which I could just skip back to the same song, oh no, you can't tell me shit about a tape at this point. I don't even want a tape in my
Oh
general
no.
vicinity at this point. Cause look, dude, ain't nothing like look. I'm gonna give you a good example, bro. I remember when Tribe Called Quest dropped the Scenario
Yes.
remix, and it came on that single, right? On a tape, you was an asshole because you was gonna have to keep running that back. Wait, okay, right there. And then if you ran it back too far, you got the other song. Nah, I'm a CD all day,
Okay.
any day,
Cool.
every
Cool.
day.
And one thing about the cassettes too, even though I do love missing classic cassettes. Like if I just had a stack of them and put them up, you know what I'm saying, just to say, hey, I had this. But when you
I
could play
had it.
that
Yeah,
tape so
yeah.
much that you would actually break that tape. That tape of breaking that cassette.
Rolling out rolling out the tape, the actual tape comes sliding out. You sitting there with the pencil screwing that shit so it'll roll back in, and then even then you could mess around and be messed up. Yeah, but let's be honest,
Man.
CDs wasn't no better because man, I remember plenty of times where I had my Walkman or my Discman, and you hopping in and out off the bus or on the school in the class, whatever you doing, and you bump it too much and shit, I start tripping and won't play right and whatever. So yeah, it wasn't neither one of those options all that great. That's why
Man.
we really not in that place nowadays. We
So them
digital
portable
all day.
CD players,
Just put
them
that shit
portable
on, boom,
CD
play.
players, bro, they used to you know, and then they came out with the
Man,
one where you could
listen,
press the little thing that's supposed to like if you would get to shaking it wouldn't
stop the
yeah. And shit that
vibration.
mess didn't
Yes,
work.
yes. It never worked. Never worked.
Oh man.
Never worked. Never
Okay.
ever
Uh
worked.
uh and freestyle or right? Which one are more? You more of a freestyle or you more right process? Right on.
Nah, I'm a writer.
Gotcha.
I'm a writer. It's because I think it's also because of the type of music I do. I like to be able to let it bake, let it marinate a little bit in my head a little longer than what I
Okay.
would do for a
Cool.
freestyle.
All right. Now let's get into some little music, into some little hip hop music stuff. All right, we're gonna start off with Nas or Jay. Okay.
Jay Easy,
Cube or AZ. Okay.
Cube Easy.
Eminem or Buster.
God
Got
damn.
him.
Oh, that hurt my
Got
heart
him.
to
I
even have to
got. I
make a
had to stop
decision
that.
like
Stop
that.
that
You got
easy
me. Yeah, you
stuff.
got me. Bow. I'm done. Yeah, that one right there. Ooh. I'm gonna go with. I hate to do this. I hate to say it out loud.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Buster,
Okay.
bro. I'm
Ain't
gonna go
nothing
with
wrong
Buster.
with it because you probably everybody got what they like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Total or SWV. Okay.
Total.
Okay.
Total.
Any particular reason why? I'd like to hear that.
Yeah. All right. It's entirely because SWV made basically hip hop music while singing. And I don't think I was prepared for the type of music that SWV made. Yeah, they made a few, what you would call kind of b-boyish songs or whatever, but it was basically a trio of singers in the most classic sense, and they're great. I don't want to sound like I don't
Right.
like SWV because I do. But if it's if I'm making that choice, total's a little more it crosses enough that I
Okay.
could listen to it in more places
Okay.
than one.
Snoop or DMX.
God damn, bro, you're killing me now. You're killing me now. Um, I'm gonna actually go with Snoop. I don't want to only say it that way. I'm going with Snoop because Snoop has been able to do what Snoop does for a tremendously long time. I can't think of very many instances where we
Right.
feel like Snoop fell off. Snoop was always doing what Snoop was doing. All Snoop did was change
Sure.
some of his content. His skill on the mic, his ability to write songs, his ability to create things, that never wavered. Snoop's always had a great ear for dope beats. It didn't help that, of course, he had some of the best producers you could possibly imagine in his corner from the jump. Um, X, I love X. X is one of my favorite artists, pretty much bar none. His first 2, 3 albums in a row were absolute classics that, if you're a hip hop fan from the 90s, the 90s, 2000s, there's no way you don't have DMX way up there between It's Dark and Hell is Hot, Flesh in My Flesh. Both of those were like, you can't even argue, right? But my problem with X was as he dealt with some of his demons with drug addiction and different shit that he was going through, his music suffered from time to time, and his music, his style, it just didn't have the longevity that you would want, especially in comparison to an artist like
That's true.
Snoop.
Understood. That's understandable too. Primo or Pete Rock?
Oh, that's
Okay.
easy, Primo, bro. That's not even
Okay.
tough.
Okay. Outkast or UGK?
Okay.
Bad.
Easy. Same.
Oh yeah.
And I like UGK a lot, bro. Don't get me wrong. I like UGK a lot. But that's not even. That's like, you know what? That's kind of like saying, look, that's like when people make those weird, like championship teams in basketball or something, right? And they go, oh, I'm gonna put LeBron and Steph Curry and Shaq on one team, and they go, yeah, we'll put these dude, they lost. Everybody else is going to lose. That's my opinion. But that's kind of where it's like you putting monuments versus monuments. You putting legends versus legends. You putting statues versus statue level artists right there. UGK paved the way for so much music from the South, Texas in general, right? The sound that we all are so used to is still, to me, a product of what UGK was able to provide and present. And to be even clearer, mainstream music took a lot from what UGK presented. So when I say I would choose Outkast, I don't mean it like to downplay UGK's role by any means. But back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, Outkast, Big Boy, Dre, they've always been so creative, so different, so unusual, so unique. So there's no way you can pass that up.
Right. We're getting to the end. I know this is gonna be an easy one. Well, you know what? When it comes to logos, if you had to pick one, LA or New York on your hat? LA.
LA.
Okay.
Easy.
The Michigan M or the Boston B? Okay.
Boston B.
Okay.
Easy.
The St. Louis hat with the two birds or the Toronto Blue Jay?
Absolutely. No, that's easy. That's always the Cardinals. Always the St. Louis Cardinals. That double bird on the bat, one, is a big influence to the hat that I talked about earlier. That shit is so fresh, bro. I don't know, like, to me, that's like one of the most hoodest hats in the world. Because it's just like these two birds is like, we'll fuck you up, man.
Okay. The Seattle Mariners S or the Anaheim Angel A?
Wait, but which?
Whichever one
Anaheim
you
Angel
prefer.
A?
I love the one with the wings.
All right, if that's the case, okay, because the one with the wings is not
for
me. That one, I don't like that one at all. But I do. Yeah, man. Look, I used to tell people all the time when they made that change to that angel with the wing, I always felt like they lost what made the logo so dope. So the A with the halo around it, to me, all the different iterations, the one where they had the skinny A with the thick halo, the thicker A with the skinny halo. Then they had a newer A that's a little more of a serif font.
I got you.
That one is dope. I just think it's such a clean representation of boom, angels, bow. You see that, you don't even have to worry or wonder. So yeah, that one.
Okay, then you right on that too. I kind of forgot about that. about that one with the halo. I forgot, but you're right though. You definitely right. Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who won it? Diamondback logo or the Phoenix Suns logo?
Shit, that's easy for me. That's easy for me, and I grew up here, bro. Now that Diamondbacks logo, and I'm gonna clarify. If we're talking about the Diamondbacks A versus the Suns logo,
Okay,
Diamondbacks E. If we're talking about the Diamondbacks City Connect with the
okay,
snake, the Serpiente
okay.
snake, easy. If we're talking about the Diamondbacks D versus the Suns logo, I'm
Oh,
going with the Suns logo.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
now the Suns logo, don't get me wrong, I don't mean it to sound like the Suns logo is a slouch. That Suns logo is bar none probably one of the
You
best
right.
logos in the
Nah,
NBA. Period.
yeah.
Like period. Like I can't think of very many teams that their logo can really fuck with the Suns. Because if you see that sun, that
You
shooting
know what
sun,
it is.
you already know what it is. You don't have to ask nobody.
Especially the
So yeah,
Charles
yeah.
Barkley days with the
Oh man,
Jimmy
everybody know. Hey,
Barkley,
come on,
Dan
bro.
Marley,
Come on,
Kevin
bro.
Johnson. Good, good. You
I'm
already know.
telling
I don't
you.
know why I'm
I'm
saying because you
telling
already
you.
know.
I'm
Okay.
telling you.
All right. All
Man.
right.
Man, you can't. Man, I'm telling you, them was the years.
All
Those were
right.
the years.
In 1, 2, 3. Give them to me in 1, 2, 3.
All
Lebo,
right.
Kobe, MJ. How would you put them 1, 2, 3?
I'm actually gonna go. It's it's
Okay.
it's kind of easy for me. I'm going LeBron 1. I'm going Jordan 2.
Okay.
I'm going
Okay.
Kobe 3. I say it different, and I say that, and I know everybody has these arguments, and I usually laugh at them because it's hard to say, oh, this dude's better than this dude because they've all accomplished so much, and they've all accomplished so much in different ways. For me at least with LeBron, the way LeBron plays, the way LeBron has, pretty much transcended things in the league. And one thing we like to forget about is this dude was pretty much single-handedly running the fucking East for like a decade, like by himself with plumbers and fucking carpenters on his teams. You know what I'm saying? Getting to the finals with with basic
Oh.
level players, right? He wasn't out there running it like that. Then he decided, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm gonna go run with some all stars and shit, run up a couple of championships and shit. Then he said, you know what? I'm gonna go back to Cleveland. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna fuck around and win a title. Boom, does that. Then he's like, you know what, shit. I'm out here doing my media investment
Yeah.
thing. I'm doing it. I'm
He
trying to do
doing it.
something out in LA. Goes out to LA. Boom, gets a championship. I respect it. I love it. And his as a player, he's a phenomenal player. He's a once in a lifetime
Yeah.
type of player. That does not take anything from
Oh
either
yeah.
of the other players that we're talking about. I'm just saying that's the only reason I would put him as one. Jordan is the to me, Jordan is the GOAT. And if there's a GOAT A and a GOAT B, it goes just like we just talked about. A GOAT A, you got to give it to Jordan. Jordan is the reason basketball is as big as it is right now. The NBA, I should say. Like, look, it's not bullshit. When you were, if you were a kid in the 80s and 90s, every
Yes.
motherfucking one of you wanted to be Jordan.
Yes.
Everybody wanted to be Jordan. Everybody wanted
Man.
Poop to be Jordan. You know what I'm saying? There was no everyone else. Like, it didn't matter. Right. There was nobody else. Like, the reason half of us became sneakerheads, there was nobody else. So, like, that's not a comparison when you look at it from impact, bro. Like, this dude would show up into other countries, like, when they were on the Olympics, and it
True.
was like
You
Michael Jackson was
right.
there, bro. This is like a whole different level, and this is a period of time where there wasn't the internet, right? So it's not like now where you hop on Instagram, you see somebody finna be in town, you be like,
Yeah.
oh, let me pull up. But that shit, you had to plan, like, well in advance to know that somebody's gonna be there and be there. Yeah, it's crazy. Kobe again is a phenomenal player. Was always the mentality. But I think he's still
I feel
somewhat
you.
behind the other two when it comes
Mhm.
to that
Okay.
conversation.
Now these last ones right here, and then because these
All
right
right.
here are the ones that kind of like more personal. You know what I'm saying? So,
All right.
would you
All right.
rather have
I
the
can dig
most
it.
awareness or the most confidence? Okay. Okay.
Confidence.
And why?
Easy. Because awareness sometimes you're
Hmm.
also because awareness includes self-awareness. And sometimes that self-awareness self-awareness can turn into self-doubt. Sometimes that self-awareness or awareness in general, can affect your confidence. It can make you feel like I'm not good enough, because awareness isn't always positive. Being aware of your feelings, being aware of things around you, those can be positive. But being too aware can also be a negative, because then you start thinking of all the reasons and solutions and potentials and probabilities and whatnot. Having confidence allows you, if nothing else, if you have the utmost of confidence, it allows you to get into a situation and fail and gain from that failure and adjust from that failure. Whereas awareness sometimes will stop you from even trying.
True. That's a good way to put it too. First time somebody put it to me like this, so that's why I always like to ask that one, because everybody have a different answer. You know what I'm saying? Which that's how I learn different people's. And what's the part of it? The mental part of it. You know what I'm saying? Kindness or honesty? Which one is more important to you in this world?
Oh man, that's a great one. That's a great one. I honestly think kindness is more important. I think you can be honest while being kind. I think you can be kind while being honest, but I think the proper balance is more kindness than honesty, because the honesty is built in being kind. Being honest gives you the opportunity to be less aware of someone else's feelings or potential impact, etc. Being kind is you taking stock of your potential impact and then offering that honesty in a manner that will be helpful to whomever you're working with or whomever you're dealing with. So I would definitely go with kindness.
Is it better to work off logic or emotion for you?
I think logic is important. I think working off emotion sometimes is a fool's game, because you're trying to make sure that what you're doing is how you really feel, which feelings change so often, so quickly, so fleetingly, and feelings can be affected by so many pieces that you're not necessarily thinking of or aware of. Whereas logic is going to largely be as stable or static as as you can imagine.
Cool, I understand. And the last one, and heard it before. I like to ask it too, because I like to hear what people think about it. And I'm big on both of them. Respect and loyalty. Which one is more important for the Blaze Rock?
It's got to be respect. Loyalty is fleeting. Loyalty is fleeting because and it isn't necessarily mean that something wrong with the other person. Because loyalty implies that someone will stick and stay regardless of how it benefits them. And that's just not realistic. The reality is we make almost all of our choices, the things that we do, are built on how they affect us and the benefit that they have on us. Whether we're being benevolent or not, whether we're doing it for someone or not, at the end of the day, our choices are built on how it benefits us. So because those benefits change, and those benefits can change, and our desires change, our requirements, our needs, our opportunities, all of those things are constantly changing. Respect does not change. Respecting someone, you can respect them while not being on their team. You can respect them while going a different direction. You can respect them while being, a competitor. Nothing changes that as long as you're going about it the right way. For me, it would definitely be respect.
And last actual question I want to ask you for this. First, before I ask you, I just want to say thank you for being able to come aboard today. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, man.
Also, I want to say thank you. I know I kind of woke up late, you know what I'm saying, and got to moving around late. You know what I mean? So excuse me for my lateness also today. You know what I mean? But I'm glad we was able. I'm glad High Power blessed us come together again to speak. The album, dope. I'm gonna give it another hard listen and listen. This time I'm gonna be able to take my time and listen, because I was trying to draw up. I was wanting to draw up some very cool questions and some good that you could elaborate to. Because, like I said, you're an interesting person, and the music and the thoughts that you put down. Because when you go to your profile, you don't show much. You just show enough. You just show what you want to show. So when you listen to the music, and then I know you just from this and looking up stuff and BP mercenaries and the softball. You know what I'm saying? You're a family man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't ashamed and telling folks what you love and what's more important to you. You know what I'm saying? When it need to be told, though. When it need
Absolutely.
to be told. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I say that to
Absolutely.
ask you this: what's something in 2022 that you left behind and say, I'm not letting that go. I'm not. That's something slowing you down. Something that was bothering the mental. Something in the world that you say, you know what? I'm not even gonna look at that, listen to that, entertain that no more. What's something that you leaving in 2022 that's gonna further your goal that you're trying to reach, whether it's music, life, personal, for 2023 and beyond. Okay,
There's
let's
three
go.
things. Three things there. Three things. They're all the same. They're all the same part of the same thing. They're
Okay.
all kind of intertwined. One, we're leaving self doubt everywhere in the past. Self doubt is, if you could imagine the amount of things that people could accomplish if they shrunk their self doubt by even a millimeter. The amount of things that I could accomplish if I shrunk my self doubt by a millimeter are beyond. So self doubt is a big one that I'm leaving. That to go with that self doubt is using modesty, humility as crutches to
Mm-hmm.
enable self doubt. Right? Um, I don't have to be a cocky dickhead, but there's never anything wrong with saying, hey, this is what I do and this is what I do well. Right? Being honest enough, being self aware enough to stay within that balance of being honest while at the same time not allowing the attempts at being modest or the attempts at being too humble to cause me to doubt myself. The third one, failure. We're not leaving failure per se. I like to believe myself to be fail proof, and what that means ultimately is I can make mistakes, I can fail, I can things can go away or a direction that I don't want, but there's information, there's data, there's something to be learned from all of it to create one step that much closer to being closer to
Yes, sir.
what I would want to be. So anything that doesn't adhere to either of those three standards is bye bye. Because we gotta move up. We gotta make moves. We gotta go forward. We gotta
Yes, sir.
evolve and do things that are gonna
Yes,
do
sir.
us well.
Is there any now after this album? Is there any more new music that's coming this year? But I know the album came, and I know it's after a set time you're gonna be probably dropping some more. So are we looking forward to some new BP Mercenary music? You know what I'm saying? You, Paco Nut, like new albums, solo albums, or new collabs, anything that you can keep us looking forward to?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be dropping some more BP Mercenary stuff. Probably towards
Okay,
the
okay,
later half of the year. So probably like I would say, if it's not like mid-year, July area, we'll definitely have some stuff dropping in the third quarter. Just a lot of movement, a lot of change going on, and a lot of different things going on outside of
right,
music, outside of entertainment or whatever. And so we're taking a little
yeah,
bit of extra time just to
yeah,
relax and get back to it. I know I've got some projects that are going to be dropping this year. I haven't totally finalized when or what cadence, but it'll be a little different than just like an audience of one was a solo project and it dropped by itself at that
okay,
moment and that was it. But this year, I like to make sure that these releases are fun. I like to make sure that there's something that continues along to keep people satiated. So we're still working out plans, but we got some stuff coming, and then we have some other stuff
mm,
that we haven't done before that we're going to be dropping, this year. Lord willing, obviously.
okay,
But just we got
okay,
a lot of stuff coming. These first few months of the year are going to be a little,
gotcha,
are all work months, so to speak. So we can have a little
gotcha,
fun
okay.
as the year goes
And
along.
any new hat collabs with y'all in the Clink Room? Is there gonna be any new hats dropping?
I don't know. That part I'm not sure. I don't want to even pump fake because how everybody's like, oh, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I got something. I don't want to do that. I know we're looking into doing some things
Oh,
even
really?
outside of the clink as far as
Really?
designs
Okay.
and hat designs. Yeah, and not even just not in the sense of not with clink or with clink, but just because, like I said, the progress and the love that we've been shown by the hat community has expanded out into a lot of different opportunities. And we'd be remiss if we didn't try to make the best out of those opportunities because none of those opportunities are instead of the clink. They're all in addition. And that is, again, because that's a big key to us is, we value these relationships that we've been able to make, individually, personally, partnerships, groups, you name it, people, we value those. So everything that we do is always going to be from a standpoint of expansion and never from a standpoint of contraction.
Cool. All right. Well, people, you know what I'm saying? Those watching now, those watching later, it's Blaze Rock on Instagram, at It's Blaze Rock on Instagram. Creator, MC, producer, one half of the BP Mercenaries. Also check them out too, BP Mercenaries on Spotify, and you can check out on Instagram too, right? Blaze? Okay. At BP Mercenaries, Western Block / cross-platform co-host and producer of the Glue Guys, which you can catch Wednesdays at what time, Mr. Blaze?
6:30 MST, so 6:30 Arizona time, wherever you are. 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. So most places an hour earlier.
Also shout out to at On Deck Fresh and Always Full Sauce, right? Check them out too as well. Check out this link tree, Apple Music, Bandcamp. You can find the episodes. You can find all the music, or you can go right to Spotify or the Apple Music, or you can go to this page and check out the stuff. Shout out to Paco Nut as well. Also shout out to the Clink Room. You know what I'm saying? Cause y'all tight. They tight. You know what I'm saying? And man, all I can say now, man, is, you know what I'm saying, I know I held you for a while, but I wanted this interview to be a little more deeper. I didn't want to just be like, yo, man, hats. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like we did that the first time, and that shows that you shows the deepness, brother, in the mind. I definitely picked up some things from this interview that I'm gonna carry with me months on down the line when y'all drop more music, stuff get to going again. Y'all, you know what I mean? Then I'm gonna reach out to you again, and I'll probably reach out to both of y'all, cause last time I seen Paco, he was saying that he finna get more into the BP Mercenaries and less off the Paco Nut name. And he so far he been and and I was like, okay, things is cooking up now. You know what I mean? So Blaze, man, just thank you much, man, for what you do, how you do. You know what I'm saying?
My pleasure, bro. I appreciate you having me.
And I always learn something from you when I talk with you. Follow your page. I'll be watching. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, you do your own thing. You're not an everyday poster. You do your own thing. So it's like,
Yes, sir.
And that's great. And that's great. So people, please follow at Blaze Rock. It's Blaze Rock. I am always Push 24 podcast, networking, getting to know people, just trying to be better than I was yesterday. So, Mr. Blaze, man, thank you, man. Get back to you. I know you get back to your regular scheduled program. Shout out to Arizona. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of Alabama. And hey, man, salute to you, man. Thank you. And I'll be reaching out to you again. And much love to you and all your family. All right, Blaze. Peace out, man.
Peace, bro. Right on.
Much love, everybody.